Welcome back, one and all, to LPL English, your unofficial home for everything LPL. I'm Mizell, I'm joined by Jay Beto, and we've got Shivam behind us on production. And tonight, we book our second representative for First Stand 2026 and our second finalist of this winter split.
It's been an exciting playoffs, Mizell. It's been fun to follow, it's been fun to cast these games as well, and it feels like a very correct way to finish up this split one, with AL being upset in the lower bracket after finishing in first place, BLG making it to finals. Who could have seen that one? And now we've got our lower finals, like you said, the last spot for First Stand. Both of these teams defeated by BLG earlier in playoffs. JDG was more recent. That one went to 5. So both of these teams, more so JDG, but both of these teams looking for revenge as well tomorrow.
There's a lot of cool narratives dwindling down here in the final moments of this winter split. But let's go ahead and take a look at that playoff bracket. Let's take a look at the journey we've taken to get here, because I would say my only caveat is I don't think we had enough 5-game series. But luckily, we were gifted with some banger 5-gamers. I know JDG is going to be a tired beast. They have literally played every best of 5 all the way to 5 games. Meanwhile, Weibo has had a little bit of a different trajectory, especially in that lower bracket, having an incredible run. And, something that we'll talk about earlier, maybe your eyes are connecting a couple things here, but we'll fill you in as time goes on tonight, as we're going to go ahead and move on and take a look at these teams that we're going to have coming up. Obviously, it's a big matchup between the two, a lot on the line. Either your season's over or you get to go to international, you get to go to a final. But this team, JDG, has been one to be reckoned with. I feel like they have been willing to play kind of crazy sometimes, play from deficits. The grit, the tenacity that this team has shown, Jay Beto, it's been incredible.
Yeah, they've been through the ring, I think. Winning against BLG, losing against teams that they maybe shouldn't have. One of those being Weibo. Weibo ended up beating them twice through the Split 1 regular season. And that was one of them was on the back of the BLG win. So this JDG roster has been through a lot. They have shown that they're, I think, incredibly good at team fighting. Maybe the best team fighting team we have in the LPL. And there have been some question marks about this statement, but Hongkyu and Junja still bringing over that synergy from CFO.
Yeah, hey, and wanted to make it back to First Stand as some of the only ones at this point. But Weibo have been no slouch. When we take a look at this roster, you can see some of the veterancy, right? They have got some of the best journeyman pieces, some of the most long-standing veterans on the squad, but it's been who's been stepping up to the plate for me. And you have to look at JDG with his incredible picks. Obviously, we look at the Warwick a little bit of side eye, but you still think about that as spicy. But Xiaohu has gotten so much better throughout this split. He looked awful in the first 2 weeks. He has looked way more like himself as we're getting to spring. But Elk, he's the shining piece. He's the top of the cake. He is the guy for Weibo that has been bringing them over the finish line.
Yeah, I think, you side-eye the Warwick, but he did win on that pick. So, 100% win rate in the LPL. I don't think it's ever been picked in the LPL, right?
Baby.
So, I'm a massive fan of results-based analysis. So, I think Warwick, obviously, really, really strong. But, I think Arha has stepped up tremendously. You're talking about some of the new faces, or of the less experienced faces, I should put it. With people like Xiaohu on a roster, right? You're always going to be less experienced than that. But like you said as well, he has had a bit of a slow start. It didn't really feel like he found a home in this team. Often filling different roles, not feeling super comfortable. I think in the series against AL, though, he found a lot of success. That game 1 on Yone against the Azir, finding some picks in side lanes. I think Weibo did a really good job of catching out AL on the side lane players. And their team fights look good as well. So I think this Weibo roster is heating up over the playoffs. They've had not as difficult a time as JDG, but that AL series means this team is no slouch.
Well, we're going to bring back some logic here that we've used before, because this is part 2, Electric Boogaloo, Weibo Logic Gaming. I talked about it earlier. If you didn't connect the pieces in the playoff bracket, JDG have had a nightmare. And it's been Weibo all split log. They lost to them both times in the regular season. And then in the playoffs, JDG, everybody they beat in that upper bracket ended up getting sent down to face off against Weibo. It was like they were using the LPL as a shield to stop themselves from having to face this Weibo team. Yet, just like Dunk from Night of the Seven Kingdoms, he gets back up. I love the picture here. Shout out to Izzy of AL and TES being used as shields. Yet Weibo arrives nonetheless. And I think it's quintessentially Weibo to think of the craziest possible solutions and make it there anyways, and here we are.
I love the YouTube. Is that a YouTube comment or is that from Reddit? I'm not exactly sure.
It should be from Reddit probably, or
average
YouTube,
Weibo
maybe.
Series when people believe in them, and you know it didn't look great, and now
they called it.
And then you don't believe in them. They win 3-1 against AL, who was our first seed, and I said I casted the ALWE series, and I said, look, guys, this is the team we all expect to be in finals. My bad, I guess. They're out. Weibo's here instead.
They are indeed. It's a little bit of Weibo logic gaming there. Absolutely. I'm here for it, at least. But, you know, we obviously have a little bit more of that spotlight to give. I know I kind of gassed him up a little bit beforehand, but I do want to continue shouting out Elk. I mean, he was first team All-Pro for a reason. He has been a monster in these playoffs. Just the funniest stat to me this entire year was that he had the top 4 most kills in games, and they were all on Kaisa, and they were ridiculous numbers, starting off at 18.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think in that way, this guy has really shown up. And I know I love to look into things because I love drama, especially in League of Legends. And I just hope and know that Elk is gunning for that final spot to face off against BLG and to prove that they made a mistake. And I think it's got to be a journey through this JDG team, through a very experienced guy he's faced off against many times before in Gala on the other side, but he has been putting up the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, I think Elk, I could be wrong, but I think Elk has the first, second, and third most kills in a game, and they're all on Kaisa, which is pretty crazy. I would be very shocked if Elk managed to get Kaisa this series, but like the clips here, I mean, he's had good performances on picks that aren't necessarily Kaisa all the time. He's an amazing Kaisa player, we know that, but I mean, in his series against AL, right, he, you know, in some of these games, doesn't have Kaisa. The Ezreal played really well. The MF we saw before.
Ezreal looked good.
His champion pool is wide. The Kaisa is terrifying, but I think that a lot of onus is on the bot lane this series, because something we were talking about just before we went live, Mazel, is that Elk kind of gapped hope in that series against AL. It was a clear bot lane difference.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And I think that's something that is going to have to be contested with tonight. You're hoping that another long-standing vet can do that in Gala, but this guy, the aggressiveness you see him make plays with, there was a lot of plays in those Ezreal games that you didn't get to see that were long. But literally, there was one clip that I almost picked that he like literally went into a 1v4 for a good 2 minutes, kited all the way around the map and made it out alive. Like, this guy has been playing so close to the edge, and it reminds me of those moments we got to see, those high highs at Worlds just last year. And so I gotta say, JDG is gonna need to find a way to deal with him tonight for sure. But speaking of finding ways to deal with things tonight, it's interesting. You know, we've had a lot of teams that have had sporadic newbies throughout, but nonetheless, when we get to these points, we're about on the edge of a domestic championship, and we have to give some flowers to some players that are going to be making it there for the first time if they do end up winning here tonight. And obviously, you see Xiaosu, you see Hongqiu came over from the LCP. You also see Vampire up there, and I think in that way, JDG are very represented by some of the newbies there for themselves, but especially on the other side, when you look at Arha, I think he's had a fantastic split for the most part, and I'm really excited to see if he can crest that mountaintop.
And this is an important thing for all these players. I think that everyone in these rosters is both really good. I think earlier in this year, like right towards the start, our first meeting as the LPL team, Cubby was talking about his thoughts on the support pool and how we really need strong support players to go to internationals and contest with the really strong supports internationally. And there are players in the LPL in the top 2 teams, maybe the top 3, but Some of them have, not playing in this split. Some of them have had off times, if pun intended. But I think that Vampire and Arha have shown in Split 1 that they are the real deal. They're continuing to grow. Every series, I feel like the expectations upset. I remember, I think I was with you, Mazel, the Vampire game where he was on Bard. Everyone was saying, insane. Man, don't give this guy Bard. And then it looked like he'd spent a lot of time in the lab cooking up the Bard, and it looked really, really good. So these players, hopefully the next generation of really strong LPL supports. But everyone here that we just saw, potential to make first finals, but you can only one side of those players can make it to their first finals. Unfortunately, one of them will be going home.
Now let's go ahead and take a look at the matchup that everybody came for, the one that everybody's got question marks about. It's this jungle matchup. It's the history between these two guys. It's so funny to think about. We were doing research, and obviously Junja was a part of the EDG team for the World Championship. He got in the picture, but was not super involved in the case. But it's still a fun matchup. I love nostalgia. I love LPL history. We won't talk about it as much, but it's still fun to see two guys who so long ago were a part, and during the regular season especially, Junja, a big part of the team, finding a way, to make a world championship, and then many, many years later, in a defining series for both of them, Junja's return to the LPL, JDG's return to the LPL, let's be honest, from last year, and being able to see them go head-to-head.
I think it's really funny, because when we were looking at that photo, trying to find it originally, we couldn't find anything with Junja in it. And I was saying, like, no, he wasn't on the roster. Like, he's not listed as a sub. He doesn't have a skin. He didn't play. And then we found that photo where he's completely mogging everyone. He's front and center of the photo, which is pretty funny. But, yeah, these two junglers, seasoned in their own right. I don't exactly remember the number. I think it's 6 or 7. I don't mean that as a joke. I genuinely mean it. Finals in a row for Junja. Obviously, that is the LCP, but still, he could be continuing that forwards today. And I mean, like, outside of, the 8th, the 11th, I think that as a jungler, sometimes it's not all about stats. Having 11th in kill participation, not the best, maybe. But KDA, nothing really that important. Damage difference, like, you're not, I feel like in this meta with these players, you're not relying on yourself carrying the game. You have players on your team that's their job. You are facilitating them and allowing them to carry and pop off.
Yeah, I think it's for JDG specifically, it's the collective power, right? Like, they are very clean on their strategy choices, how they approach certain fights, objectives, things like that. I think that comes from a lot of the teaching of Tabe, who I know AL is severely missing at this point when they're sitting at home. But it's one of those situations where their collective whole feels so strong, and Weibo have had individual pop-offs, really good cohesion in some of the plays they want to make around. I think that's why we see them here in the lower bracket finals, all the way at the top of the LPL. And Weibo, a little bit of redemption for them, finally making it this far as well, after many times down in the dumps, many times trying to make it through the regional finals for Worlds and things along those lines, and being able to kind of grace this upper podium here for Weibo as a whole. But that's where I also think the counterpoint on the other side, where this new project of just some of the best pieces of one of the funnest international stories last year in CFO, and some of the newer blood as well coming through for JDG, really showing up and potentially showing that next generation of the LPL.
There's the trophy, and that will not be handed out tonight, but
it's not as cool as the hammer last year. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if you saw it, but when Top Esports won, they had it was like a crystalline hammer thing, and you could pull it out, and it wiggled around. 369 was waving it around. It was so fun.
The only thing I do know about this one that I think is super cool is the badge, the little crystals that the IGLs have, the captains have, and they put it onto the trophy when they get knocked out. Super cool. You could see it there a little bit. Maybe if we get another close-up later, pay attention to that. But no, I do not remember Split 1 because I chose to blank it out of my mind. First stand last year, there was no LPL representative. You can see the crystals right there. But yeah, this is a fresh new tournament for the LPL. None of our teams went last year. I don't remember Split 1.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. And, sometimes that's all you need. There's two premier guys tonight, two guys that we're going to be keeping a constant eye on. You said it, Elk absolutely gapped hope. Well, this is the next on the docket, another guy who has represented very well for JDG in some of their highest highs as well. A very experienced man right there, Gala. Facing off a little fun fact against his old counterpart in Xiaohu on the other side, which is a fun little rematch after time. When we didn't see Gala really work out on that LNG squad with Scout. Now we get to see him against his old mid laner in Xiaohu.
So it is 7 in a row, 7 finals in a row for Junja. So if he wins tonight, it will be 8, which is incredibly impressive. Again, it's the LCP. It's not LPL or the LCK. But, I mean, look at how CFO did last year internationally. They still did well. So, you know, I think it's still a really, really good trophy to give him. You know, like a flower, I guess. We don't really keep track of stuff like that all the time. It doesn't mean anything outside of just how dominant this player is domestically. But I think both of these teams, I think for me, Weibo is when this season started and just how Xiaohu looked in the beginning of this year, I was really uninspired by this Weibo roster. But they have really showed up, not only in Split 1, but in playoffs a ton. I think they're really heating up, Mazel. I mean, I've been a vocal fan about it too, of JDG. I think this roster is really fun. I'm a big Tabe fan too, but sounds like we'll get into draft because I can hear the draft music, I believe. And I am excited. Best of 5 Fearless. Here we are. Pretty standard bans. The Orianna, the Rumble, the Varus. I'm expecting the Nico as well. Pretty prioritized in the LPL. But then Xin Zhao, I think, has been a jungler that a lot of our LPL teams have been going towards. So maybe a first pick angle there.
Yeah, I mean, we've been seeing a lot of similar bans in the first couple of games, at least. I think it gets a little bit more spicy once we've been seeing games 3s, 4s, and 5s, but a lot of similar bans throughout the LPL so far in these playoffs. We'll see exactly what JDG want to ban away finally, and what we'll be seeing from Weibo's first pick is the Mbessa towards Zika taken away and maybe saved for later for Xiaosu.
I mean, this means that Nico's up, but it's actually going to be a Vi first pick. Poppy's up. Xin Zhao's up. A lot of these duelists that can fight against Vi, I'm surprised. Like, you could go Xayah, Rakan. You could even just take the Xayah. There's a ton of safe AD carries as well. We've seen a bit of Ezreal into the Vi as well. So, I am surprised by the Vi first pick, but I think, you know, Weibo obviously rate this pick high. It is game 1 of Fearless, so taking away something that's pretty all-encompassing, has a lot of options in team fights, is quite nice. I wouldn't be surprised to just see an Ezreal or Karma.
I do really like the Karma already. A lot of peel ability against a comp that's going to be centered around Vi's engage in a lot of these cases. So that's going to be really nice to kind of build around now for JDG. I think they can go with something a little bit more supportive in the bot lane. I wouldn't mind the Jhin for a game. I know Elk's been a little bit more of a fan of that one, but Xin Zhao that you mentioned earlier is going to make it on through.
Well, this is a pick, I don't know, I'm going to say it's controversial in the LPL. I haven't really heard any of our casters talk about this pick, but in the LCK, and actually in some other regions too, but to the LCK, this pick is disgustingly overpowered. It's always winning. They did a whole segment on it in the space, on the desk, and the LPL has not been successful with this pick at all. It's looked very uncomfortable, and that's a worry going to first stand, right? You don't want one of the best mid laners on the patch to be something that our players can't really pilot. An Aurora, no flex potential here at all, unless we're seeing bot lane Aurora. It's probably going to be Zika with this top lane pick, but that's blind. Blind. So Xiaosu has the option to pick into it, but instead, this is a really good pick. I like this. So this is a flex, and it can go either lane. Might just be the Ezreal, though.
Ezreal does get locked in for Gala, so taking that away from Elk, but also giving himself some safety against what's a lot of damage already for Weibo. I'm very curious at how Weibo want to continue building their comp. Obviously, a lot of AD potential is going to be coming through from whatever Elk picks, but the kind of double AP solo laner is going to be really curious to see how this worked out for a game 1 of this best of 5. As we go into the second phase of bans, though, we do see that Nautilus and maybe some more bot lane focus for both teams.
No Nico ban so far. It's been very prioritized in the LPL. It's fallen off like a cliff in the LCK towards the end of their playoffs, and I was very surprised. And the LPL continued to really like to pick it. We've pivoted more to this Enchanter bot prio style lane, and you kind of can't get prio against Ezreal Karma at all without jungle intervention. Vi is good at ganking, but in the 1v1 against Xin Zhao, she'll just lose, right? Xin Zhao's a great duelist. She really needs that level 6 to make the team fights work in her favor. So, I mean, for bot lane push, if you want to try to answer it, you're looking at maybe an Ashe Seraphine, something like that, a Caitlyn Lux, but we haven't seen any of that, so you're most likely going to have to give bot lane push.
Yeah, and I do wonder, like, that's gonna be a big talking point as we go out there this series and see exactly what the bot lane's looking like, because what we know can't happen is there would be a lapse down there for JDG. Maybe some wiggle room for Weibo, because Elk always seems to turn it up, but I specifically am really putting a lot of weight on the shoulders of Gala and Vampire to kind of keep stable against this bot lane 2v2 against Weibo. And now JDG going to save their counter pick here. They're going to go ahead and get that Scion locked in, and it'll be looking like that mid lane counter pick, even though we've seen both solo lanes.
Yeah, the Scion is a nice little safe pick in the top lane. You know, it's losing into the Aurora, but you're happy sitting there farming, getting the W passive stacked up. But this kind of means you can't go the Galio anymore because you don't have enough damage. If you do go the Galio, it needs to be full AP Galio, maybe with a Hallowed Radiance in there, but I would prefer full AP, and then you kind of lose this counter, right? You still get the Magic Shield, but I think we need some kind of damage, preferably some range to have with your Ezreal Karma. We've seen Ezreal Karma Zoe, we've seen, you know, some Syndra, maybe Victor played as well, but Weibo have a ton of team fighting potential here with the Nico. They can slot in any 80 carry here. Jhin is nice. This is a tough lane, the Kai'Sa, but giving Elk the Kai'Sa, it's coming out.
I think it's about to get a little bit chilly in here, fellas. That's insane. We get the Gala on the other side matchup against the Kai'Sa, because Gala's obviously well known as the pentakill prince on the Kai'Sa, but Elk, I feel like, has taken the mantle here recently. But the ending up setup for JDG is going to be extremely tanky, extremely group oriented with that Galio locked in.
You got the double globals from both teams. Oh, sorry, the one global on each side. Didn't say that the correct way. I think on JDG side, you've got, like you mentioned, frontline, a lot of space and time buy with the Xin Zhao. Enchanter with Xin Zhao is always nice. I think that Galio has to go some kind of AP, otherwise you're really relying on Gala to do a lot with Junja, and still it's a lot of, physical damage. Weibo have great side lanes with Aurora Rise, so you can't really answer that. Great ganks and team fights start. It's quite difficult for JDG to start a fight without Honkyu going in for a taunt or flashing in, or Xiaoshu coming in from the side with an ult. You have on the other side Nico, Kai'Sa to follow, Raya's ult to catch people out, the Vi, the Aurora that can access the backline as well. I think that Weibo have a ton of options. JDG need to find some very specific fights where they're either up numbers or they can really keep distance with this Ezreal Karma.
Yeah, I mean, the safety, if they play respectfully, if they play a little bit defensive for JDG, can be extremely well done. I think sometimes they get the better of themselves by being a little bit too aggressive, but with this comp, if they just hold on and wait for those big on 5 team fights later into the game, it looks really strong all put together. But they've got to be a little bit careful about the aggression that's going to be coming out from Weibo, the team setup that's going to be coming out as we crest into the lower bracket finals here of the LPL winner split. One of these teams, JDG or Weibo Gaming, is going to First Stand 2026.
Something funny about the First Stand thing we were talking about a little bit is that Viper. Oh my god, I forgot Viper's name. I was thinking Ruler for some reason. It just completely slipped my mind. Viper is the sole remaining defending First Stand champion, and he is going to First Stand. So he's the only person from the entire tournament that even made it back. He's the defending champion until, we get potentially Hongkyu and Junja coming in as well. But I think that's pretty funny. I think do BLG count themselves as like half champions, half defending champions? I'm not exactly sure how that works because the real champions, they were out 10th.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I want to go back to your point though, obviously, because I think narratively wise, it's so cool to see that Junja and Hongkyu have been a driving force for this JDG team in their first split here, back in the LPL, obviously for Junja, but for the first time for Hongkyu. And it's still been their style a lot of the time, and it's been really, really fun to watch. It's been a breath of fresh air, it feels like, in the league, and in their first split, they're already potentially making it to finals. Obviously, we've got a lot of game to play, and we'll see if that actually comes so. But as we take a look at the map state, it is going to be the opposite side jungling path for both junglers, and a lot of priority game by JDG bot.
Didn't exactly see what happened down here level 1. We were kind of looking over the map, but Arha had to base very early against this Ezreal Karma. Elk's doing his best to farm, but look at the CS gap. It is, there is minions to catch here for Elk, but that's not going to get evened out on this wave. I'm really surprised by the fan prediction there, or the official broadcast prediction, I should say. 76% Weibo, I think it was the number. That's insane. I was not expecting it to be this Weibo favored. But remember, Weibo did beat JDG twice in the regular season in the double round robin and have looked pretty hot so far. Junja down here in the bot side getting his Scuttle Crab, and looks like JJ will be up the top clearing his Scuttle Crab. The level 6 Scuttle Crab missile is something that we've spoken about quite a lot. I'm really interested to see how these two junglers that we've spoken about, having history together, want to play around the Scuttle Crab this series.
Oh, gonna get low here. Didn't end up burning the heal. Gonna have Junja right there just in case to be able to put him down. He does make it out alive, so there won't be a kill there. He will have burned the heal. Still has the flash, and the flash got burned by Gala there. So a couple summoner spells for the one inside of JDG, but a lot of prio still being fought for here in the bot lane. As Vampire goes in, Elk's going to flash. Junja stayed around, waited, goes for the 3-talon strike, and the Mystic shot takes him low. Elk down, first blood, JDG.
Kind of perfect. Vampire flashes with the W tether, forces Elk to flash, and then Junja's waiting behind. JJ is here. Junja has no flash, but I don't think that Weibo can do any kind of dive, so it's just going to be a really nice first blood over to Gala in that play. I mean, Junja stayed there for so long waiting for an opportunity, and finally Weibo give him one.
Looks like JJ wants to force some of this turret plate gold if he can. Get this wave in, make sure it does end up crashing. Doesn't end up sticking around. It's going to be Elk that finally makes it back to lane. A little bit of chaos in the bot lane early. Isn't going to lean out too much. Both junglers are going to head back into the map. We will have objectives here coming up shortly. But I want to ask you, Jay Beto, what buff is better? Going all 5 games in every series you played in the upper bracket for JDG, or the lower bracket run? Because I feel like both have mysticism around them.
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to try to not be biased. I do think...
You a lower bracket run fan?
No, I'm a JDG fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. My reasoning behind picking the upper bracket is that they played more games. Now, I don't know if this is a team, some teams, they play more games, it looks worse. They need that time off. Time off makes them come alive, but I think it's never a bad idea to have more game time in a playoffs when you can really get a grasp on meta, drafting. Pardon me, it means that if JDG do go to a best of 5 like they've been doing, they are very comfortable in that 5th game.
Elk is just getting oppressed down here. Just really doesn't have the range to keep up with all the poke that's coming his way. The prio there with the waves crashing consistently. About a 20 CS differential right now, and Elk's going to try to clean up a few of these scraps here before the turret does try to get himself a little bit more even. But bot lane is bleeding here, and Weibo going to need to figure out a way to get Elk online.
Well, there's the level 6 Scuttle. Junja, Zezia will level up, but Junja's around the dragons. This is why I was surprised about the Kai'Sa pickup. I think this lane is impossible to play. I think JDG did a really good job of, if this is how they want to play the game, and I think this is what I'm going to... Oh, hang on, maybe I'll wait. Weibo, don't want to give this dragon up for free.
Junja is not. The smite will go his way. There's going to be the heroic entrance used for mid lane. The cease and desist comes down with the Void Seeker on top of it. Elk helps a little bit, but I don't know if it's going to be nearly enough. The Crescent Guard buys so much space, and JDG find 2 more kills, maybe even a third. And they fall for the bait. They go for the clone. I don't know if they'll be able to catch him at this point, but it will be a clean fight from JDG and the objective secured.
I mean, Vampire can just chase him to death, but the thing is that Arha will most likely, even if he does get caught, just be able to execute. Unless Vampire bomb plant in right now. No, Arha's already in base.
No
there we go.
Way.
So I wanna talk about this. I don't know if this is the right time, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We've got some downtime here. I mean, you know, the grubs are up in 50 seconds. Haven't been super prioritized by our teams here. In the last 2 series, so BLG and JDG and Weibo versus AL, there was 9 games. And the team that got Soul Point, not Soul Point, won the game. We got a Realm Warp down bottom.
Oh, Gala's in some trouble, waiting for him to use his Arcane Shift, and Elk is the one that claims the kill out of all 3 of the people just battering down Gala.
And that's how you use this side lane comp, side lane access. Very strong from Ryans. We're talking about that in draft a little bit, and this time the kill goes over to Elk. The first on earlier onto Gala was on Xiaohu, but now Gala has fallen twice. You won't be very happy about that, but JDG still maintain a gold lead. But yeah, what I was saying is that in those 9 games, the team that ended up getting Soul Point won the game. And you might say, well, Gibetto, that's because they were up gold. No, that's not what happened. Sometimes they're up gold, sometimes it was even, sometimes JDG specifically was down many thousands of gold, and them getting Soul was enough to bring them back into the game. It's just the strength of Soul Point, the threat of the Soul. Both of these junglers did a really good job in their respective series of smite stealing against the opponent jungler. So I'm really excited to see. I mean, are we going to get some flips? JDG have the first dragon already. We've got the 2 strongest damaging souls off the table already, but we could high roll into a Cloud Soul. I think for Kai'Sa, Nico, for Vi, for Xin Zhao, those are really, really strong. Sorry, that's Soul that's really, really strong on those champions.
And while you were talking, we saw Junja very aggressively take 2 camps right out from under the nose of JDG there, so he'll continue the small advantage that he's had and potentially go on to the other side to try and stop the favor return from JDG, as he will be surrounded here. Gonna have to use the Vault Breaker to get over the wall. Gonna go straight to the turret. True Shot Barrage. It might clip him. Oh. He steps out of the way. He will be executed. Just a quick reset for the jungler of Weibo.
Yeah, nice execute. Does feel a bit bad though, and a bit lucky for Weibo that True Shot Barrage didn't hit. It means that JDG have tempo now to push in all their lanes, potentially go over to these grubs. But like I said before, the grubs have been really undervalued this year, Mazel. I think teams aren't really committing to this split push style. I think when the year started, there's a lot of people saying, well, the extra gold that you can get from the turret plates, the extra XP that top laners get inherently from their role quests, like surely we're going to see a split push meta. It's been all about dragon sacking. It's been all about bot lane and rotating down. And I'm not saying that there's no point in cross-mapping to get gold. It does work like that, but Soul is so powerful. I mean, it does require you to throw a little bit, but take a look at the the JDG BLG series in game 1 where BLG got Baron, they were up a good amount of gold, but JDG were able to get Soul and they brought it back with some really, really nice late game team fights. Scaling for both teams is something that I want to kind of shift the conversation over to here. I think Weibo have so much damage. It's ridiculous. They have Aurora, Riot, Kai'Sa, and still great team fighting. I think that as an engaged champion goes, I think Nico scales really well in team fight because she has so many options. It's not like, like a Nautilus where, okay, he scales because you've got guaranteed confirmed engage with the R, but Nico, you can be so sneaky, you can be so creative with it. JDG have to not switch off for a moment. If they do, if Gala dies, like, Honkyu's going protections. There's not enough damage to really get through Weibo before Weibo just executes you.
And Weibo did a really good job of getting El kind of back in, at least. He's still going to be under distress down here, and especially once they go for this tower dive, but they did a really good job of stabilizing the ship, it felt like, for Elk, as he still will be a major force with time coming. Arha with a 3-level down difference between him and Junja. Tries to run away from the very forward stance that Junja's been taking into the jungle of Weibo time and time again. There is the dragon up. Could be a second dragon for them. There is the grub trade on the other side if Weibo want to go for it.
I really love this macro from JDG. They push down Junja to the bot side, clear out Vision, push out Arha, chunk out Elk, and have positions around with the global ult as well. Even though Honkyu's down tempo in mid, he can join at the same time. So this is just great dragon macro. I mean, all summoner spells are available for Weibo. They're not weak at all right now. They're only down, 1.5k gold. Sundered Sky completed for Zeze. Xiaohu is at a decent spot. Honkyu doesn't have a full item yet, but the raw tempo advantage this Ezreal Karma and the bot push provides you means the dragon is just done.
And Elk got his backstop. Just wanted to try to get a quick reset off, but that True Shot Barrage did signal him to stay. As TP going to be used back to the mid lane by Honkyu. Will come over to join the invade as well. Pick up a nice little blue buff gift from Junja. And so far, Junja has been all over the map, consistently pressuring Weibo's decision-making tree.
What a nice jungler. Honkyu says, I'll TP in for the fight. No, I'm kidding. I was just here for the blue buff the whole time. And now I've got infinite mana and some good cooldowns. I am concerned, though, for this JDG comp. It's Chemtech Sol. With the tanks, that's quite nice. They'll be really tanky, sure. The shielding from Karma, it is scary. It's not a bad Sol this game by any means. But unless Honkyu ends up going damage later, unless Junja has a ridiculous game on Xin Zhao, which I'm not saying he can't do. Xin Zhao does do quite a bit of damage. It's all on Gala. Gala has to have a ridiculous pop-off game. And if he's, taken out quickly in fights, I think Weibo just have superior late game damage. I think they have better team fighting just looking at their team comp. JDG are a great team fighting team in general, but the early game has gone over to JDG. Something that, we spoke about earlier is the fact that JDG were down gold in every game against BLG. Some people make the comment or the joke, BLG could have won 5-0 in that series, which is definitely true. But JDG with a little bit of a gold lead here. I want to see them start ramping up the pace. When these two items come in, I think we've got Trinity Force finished. We should have Honkyu finishes his first item now. It is. He's got the boots. When these two items come in, we need to put our foot down on the pedal and start pushing this lead forward further.
And we saw that there was lane swaps initiated by JDG. Also got the grubs going there. We see the play from Chaos, who initially attempted onto Elk, but now he's just going to be locked down by the duo here. The Plasma Stack's doing work, but he is still tanky enough to make it out alive. So it won't be much but turret plates for Weibo on the bot side play, and still 100% neutral objective control from JDG.
Now Weibo tried to get something back, and I think that Elk has a nice little... decent chunk gold lead for himself, but you can't really take down the Scion that well because he does have that Kanik Rukun completed, right? So, okay, it wasn't me. I was a little worried because that happens to me sometimes.
The beauty of being a piggyback broadcast, baby.
It's okay. You know what? I'm worried. I hear we might be back. We are back. Baby. Lovely. Thank you, Huya. Anyway, we've got some problems going on here, obviously, but we'll continue to talk about the game just a little bit before. Hopefully we get back in soon. Yeah, I think that with Xiaoshu having this Kanik Rukun, he's able to kind of fight Elk just a little bit, but I don't know about this much.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, we've seen this before. Elk this time wants to really make him pay. He's going to revisit. I can't believe they were successful at going down here and oppressing Xiaoshu. Yet again, it will be a kill going over to Elk, so much needed gold there. Did see the setup on the Rift Herald, though, go the way of JDG. So they literally just took back-to-back topside neutral objectives. The turret should go down to Weibo.
I was half expecting Xiaoshu to just say screw it and ult up to clear the next wave. I think he was trying to get it, but Elk was ready with the block, so Xiaoshu doesn't pull the trigger and ult keeps that so that he can ult back to the lane. I'm assuming he's just going to ult to a lane here, get back faster and get those minions. Maybe he'll just walk. Home guards are very fast, but outside of the dragons, Marcel, it's been a little bit of Weibo finding some picks and then JDG just waiting. We're waiting for our spikes. We're waiting for the next dragon, and that's where we're going to play our game. I feel like this is how they won their games against BLG, and it seems like they really haven't diverted that strategy at all. They're happy to just continue to do that in this series.
I mean, from draft, we talked about the difference between these comps, right? We talked about the fact that if JDG play a respectful game until they get to those 3 item spikes, this comp is going to be extremely hard to break once they're all 5 together. And yes, there's some great scaling options for Weibo, but it's definitely a lot more mechanically intensive, execution-based composition from Weibo this time around. And you know, from their run in the lower bracket, we've seen they've been able to handle comps like that. But so far, JDG has been put pretty far behind in terms of tempo on the map, and that's not typically the winning ways of Weibo. About 1,000 gold lead for JDG ahead of this potential 3rd dragon for them.
Gala has to be taken down, but he has both summoners up, and Vampire has heal. Has her echoes finished as well. Honk, can join with TP, so Weibo, I don't know if they have the grounds to stand here at all. JJ would need to go in for a steal. Maybe Arha can find a really nice ult, but it looks like they've already just given up the dragon. Remember, in the last 9 games, the team that gets soul point just wins the game.
Ninja's even going to play with his food a little bit here. Doesn't finish off the dragon just yet. They're going to use the Rift Herald play into the Weibo team. He's going to get double knockups there. The taunt comes down, and that's going to be a decimating smash for Elk's face. That's a huge pickoff by JDG, and now they might even want some more. He was not able to seal away the blue. The dragon did end up going down, so that's soul point for JDG, and they just seem to be running the Rift.
I think JDG's macro this series, this game 1 has just been much better. Arha's a minion, won't catch out JDG at all, but it feels like 3 dragons have gone completely for free. The first one, okay, it's early in the game. JDG have bot push with Ezreal Karma, but the last 2, especially that one, JDG was late, and they still managed to, with their push, get onto this dragon with great positioning. The setup was awesome, and then really nice engage from the 2 tanks, who have enough base damage to just take down Elf.
He had flash.
He did.
Oh no!
I'm gonna forget that part because I still.
Oh no, dude! Why?
I still remember Elk Kaiser from the regular season, and I don't want this performance to taint that, because you do just have to flash that.
That's a tough one. He'll be saving that one for potentially the next fight coming through, but that's going to be painful now with this about 2,000 gold lead. And the thing about this is it's not that much of a gold lead. We've seen bigger comebacks from even JDG themselves. But it's about the map control. It's about the fact that they've had 100% neutral objective control, which is almost unheard of in the LPL. We've had it a couple times this split and a couple times in the playoffs, actually. But it is very few and far between, and JDG have done an excellent job of kind of righting themselves after their loss the last time around.
I mean, I was talking about in the draft that Weibo have great side lanes, right? They have Ryze, they have Aurora. Aurora with this Leandry should be able to do a decent amount to the tanks, at least, you know, get push, but Galio, like Tank Galio and Sion are getting push in the side lane, and Weibo are just grouping up mid to look for some random plays here. Maybe Gala will step up, guys, and we'll be able to ult him, but that doesn't happen. So they're losing gold on side lanes where they should be winning, right? You've got Ryze Aurora, -1. And then JDG are still winning out in mid because they have superior wave push with Ezreal Karma. So Weibo feel a little bit all over the place. They feel a bit dizzy in this game 1. I really think that they aren't playing the comp to the comp's strength, and they're losing a lot. All the objectives, yeah, but they have the only gold lead is Elk, and we saw how he played that last fight, or what happened to him. If Elk dies and Xiaohu and Zika aren't in a position, you can kind of flip the script about what I was talking about on JDG's side. If Elk is dead, there's a very, very short-range comp from Weibo up against Ezreal Karma, Xin Zhao. It's really hard for Weibo to continue going without, you know, wave priority.
And something I will say that maybe Weibo want to try to rely on, I don't think it's the most reliable thing to do so in, but JJ has been a masterful smiter so far these playoffs. He has been incredible. He's going to need to put that on full display here if they want to try to pull this lead back in any way, especially in about a minute and a half when that soul could be coming up for JDG. But Weibo still struggling to get to those third items here. Obviously, on the other side, JDG has not reached that precipice just yet either. But it's about those second item spikes that are really going to play a heavy role in this next fight, Beto.
Yeah, I think for Xiaohu, you know, Seraphs and Roa, upgraded Roa, like it's great, but you're not level 16, which is where you get the third point in ult. You get the ton of I think it's overload damage, I think that's what it's called. And then obviously you want the actualizer. That's 3 items. For Elk, it's the same. You really want Nash's or Dusk and Dawn, depending on if you're going to go that. If you're going to go full crit caster, which it looks like he might be, then the 2 items is nice, but you'd still love the Fiend Hunter bolts to fight. But, you know, Galio Ezreal, Zinzao at 2 items is really, really strong. Trinity Force Mana Moon is a massive spike. Galio is very tanky with a little bit of damage. And I don't know if Junja can die at all right now. 30 seconds on this Soul. Chemtech Soul with a Karma. All these shields and the double tank already. Weibo need to do something, but again, JDG are first. They have better priority and a better setup around this Drake. Weibo are completely choked out.
And for Weibo, you'd hope to get in there before the locking pieces of the armor kind of come together, but they've already come together. All 5 members from Weibo and JDG going to be surrounding over this dragon here. Going to have a move from Zika potentially from mid lane. He's pushing the lane right now, but the dragon has been started by JDG. They need to fight this one or just hope to save until the Elder Dragon, I guess. But it's going to be Junja who pulls out the dragon now. Weibo going to slowly move in. They have no vision. Zika's looking for a flank. Maybe this is the opportunity. Arhat's just dead before his Pop Blossom even goes off. Heroic Entrance comes back and all 5 strong from JDG. Roar triumphantly against the Weibo that has beaten them time and time again here in the Winter Split. They'll turn back for their bounty in the Soul.
Their setup is just so good from JDG. They make it look really easy. The setup is great. The vision is good. They push out all of Weibo, have no chance of a flip. This looks completely different to how JDG Weibo was in the regular season. I mean, they've got Soul. Again, 100% win rate in the last 2 games. My kind of sample size. Baron up now. Weibo are around, but they don't have a jungler.
You playing a little bit aggressive here. Now, Xiaochu's going to take a little bit of tickling from Weibo. It does seem like JDG pretty hesitant to do the Baron off the back of that one, so they'll leave that one alone for now.
I like it. JDG have gold that they need to spend after doing that Soul and getting some of those kills as well, or just the kill on the JJ and Arha. But I think that for JDG, they're aware that the only way that they start losing this game is by taking a bad fight. They don't feel like they're comfortable around that dragon, so even though they most likely could have, you know, it's probably like an 85 to 90% play. They're worried about that 15 or 10 to 15%. They reset, they get better vision. You know, Vampire's stacked up his wards, refilled his wards. You've got Hongqiu in the bot lane pushing out. Very, very strong. He is going more damage now, which is good to see. Has TP available, so I like it. You know, you're not rushing the game. Weibo are losing minions bot side because they're forced to stay grouped. Earlier I was saying that Weibo really need to utilize their side lane pressure, but right now, because of the threat of the Baron and Xiaohu doesn't have TP, he has to be hovering within ult range. If JDG started up and Xiaohu and Hongqiu are in the bot lane, or even Xiaoshu, either of the side laners for JDG can TP over, and and Xiaohu will be left in the side lane. So JDG playing it fairly slow, but with the Soul in their back, they're very strong.
Really careful with that subtle strength they're going to be having now. Also, a little side point is, you know, that matchup we wanted to put on a precipice here, at least on a pedestal, is going Junja's way so far. And I got to say, they did not have much of a say in this setup already, and that can't be happening for the way that Weibo have been winning their games. It is a lot of the time propped up by Didier's earlier parts of the game. Now he's going to have to find a way in. It doesn't seem like Weibo are giving up just yet, at least. There will be about 3.5 minutes for that next Elder Dragon. really they're hoping this scaling is going to pay off. Runans has been completed for Elk. He's really going for some of that attack speed and extra AoE damage during these fights, these grouped up 5-on-5s.
I don't think I've ever seen this build from a Kai'Sa before. I mean, if there's anyone in the world I'm going to trust about a Kai'Sa build, it's probably going to be Elk. But yeah, I'm not really sure how I feel about this. It feels a little desperate. We just need more AoE damage when that's what your comp has a lot of anyway. But look, Master Elk Sensei, I will listen to you. I will trust you. And if you lose, results-based analysis says the build was bad. And that's my kind of analysis. I love that.
The theme of the night so far is Elk does a nice little sidestep there. There was an attempted flank by Arha, but he gets found out initially, and now there's not much setup that Weibo can pull up besides the cease and desist combo from JDG. They're still going to try to surround this one. Arha is still playing on the back end of it, but you can just see how hard it is to crack into the armor of JDG.
There's a lot of peel. Zeker is invisible.
Goes for the
Weibo's going.
Worlds, Realm Warp. I mean, Weibo are just feeling desperate at this point. They need to try to get a fight somewhere. Elk gonna try to get his way in here, but Xiaosu just tanked all of the damage that Weibo threw at him. Heroic Entrance gonna come in on top as well, and Weibo are starting to lose some of their pressure here. They're about to lose their mid laner too. He does flash away, gets away from the root, but the flash play from Xiaosu comes through. Honkyu's gonna follow through with the taunt coming, but he gets knocked back in the end by JDG, who does make his way out with the cease and desist. Really nicely done. Zika goes forward, tries to get his own damage in there, doesn't nearly have enough, and guess who's been untouched the entire time? Gala on his Ezreal. He was just chunking away at Weibo the entirety of that fight.
Yeah, has 3 items finished. JDG was winning a 3v4 at a time there. Jun just spends so much of that fight zoning Arha away, so the team fight never really comes. Weibo try on a potential overstep from JDG, but JDG have enough. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. He finds Arha and he pushes him away out of the fight completely, so that Pop Blossom never comes out. And JDG, they just front to back. Their damage is very, very nice. If you can't kill Gala, I guess you... What I said earlier about if you kill Gala, then there's no damage. And that is true. But if you can't kill Gala instantly, you don't have enough damage at the moment to take down Chemtech, Sol, Galio, Xin Zhao, and a Scion. It's just not happening. So, you know, we try to snap onto Gala. It's not fast enough. Arha's not there. And the play is mute. Now, crucially here, I mean, there's all 30 seconds until this Elder. Gala has both summoners. Elk does too, but you've got no flash Arha, no flash Jeje, no flash Xiaohu, no flash Zika. There is some mobility on the carries for Weibo, but they are very vulnerable, and the engage is not strong.
See Weibo very hesitant to move in. The Elder Dragon is the deciding part of this game. It feels like if JDG win this one, they could just push to win. Xiaohu getting caught. The 3-talon strike knocks him up for long enough. The root doesn't come through, but Junja does. For his team, he has been everywhere this entire game number 1 of this best of 5. And that should just mean a 4v5 go in the favor of JDG at the Elder Dragon.
For Weibo, like, what do? Do you give Elder and Baron? Like, you've given everything this series. Oh, sorry, this game
Literally everything.
You haven't done anything in this game. You've got a couple of picks on side lane, one of them on a Scion. You caught Gala out twice early in this game. The Elder is being done. We're TPing back, but again, you can't get past this front line. It's just going to be taken before you even get in.
Clone tries to go through. It's not enough. 4 members strong while Junja is just soloing the Elder Dragon. It feels like Weibo can't do anything, and they know it too. They try to go in for one last gasp after Pop Blossom comes in on a multiple, but the Elder Dragon has come through, and the wings have sprouted on JDG's back. They are headed for the sky, and they are headed through Weibo here in game number 1. Absolute domination. Only 4 kills and 1 turret so far for Weibo, and everything for Jindong game.
JDG have had massive problems with overstepping, overplaying when they don't need to throughout a lot of their games, and this game is nothing like how their mistakes have come to fruition in the past. It is so calculated, it is slow, but it's methodical, it's perfect even. They haven't dropped, like you've been saying, a single objective this game so far. What, one tower has been taken for Weibo? They've had nothing to do in this game. They have sat by and waited for some scaling to come on. And they do have scaling, but no matter how much you wait here, Elder, Soul, Baron, Grubs, they have collected Exodia, and you don't outscale that.
And for what Kaisa was the weirdest part about this comp in a lot of ways, but it's not like these aren't champions that they're comfortable on. I mean, a lot of these picks are things that could have been relied on later in the series, even now, but it just has not worked out in this game, number one. And I give so much props to the reservation that we needed JDG to have with this composition, and that they did so, right? Like, that has been a key moniker for JDG, is sometimes getting too aggressive. That's why they find themselves in deficits a lot of the time, even if they come back from those. But in this one, it was methodical, it was ruthless, and they have picked apart Weibo piece by piece. Oh my god, they're just having fun with it now. Arha almost just gets killed from range. Jun's is going to get himself another kill. It's going to be his fourth. Elk uses his killer instinct to get away as a little bit of defensive tool. But look, like, all of this damage that Weibo has done is going to be on Xiaoxu. When we look at the post-game graphic, you look at all of Weibo's damage, just imagine that being all onto Xiaoxu and him never having died. At least from the earlier parts of the game. And this is just JDG kind of finishing the job here. They've done all their due diligence in this one. An almost 10,000 gold lead to kick this one off, and the Elder Dragon from distance with the True Shot Barrage. Everything going JDG's way, and they are looking like a beast to handle from Weibo. They've got to go back to the drawing board here, J Beto.
Yeah, so many shields being generated. It's impossible for Weibo to play the game at the end there, but I mean, what a start from JDG, a statement. They come out, they've got a plan, they play it perfectly. Weibo, I feel like, yes, they have scaling, but it didn't really feel like they came out hungry enough in that game one. Like, they didn't really look for any aggressive team fights. They didn't look to make any playmaking, but the biggest part about that game, it felt like, and there's honestly not a lot to talk about. What it was JDG with bot prio. This is so 2022, which is fun, unless you're losing. We get bot prio, we have a roaming mid, we have a jungler who likes to fight, we stack Drakes. The blocking was so perfect. That was insane from JDG, the way that they were just able to stand 4 in a line while Junja does the objective and kite Weibo out and say, no, not this way, no, not that way, our vision is perfect, we know where you are, you're on the wave now, there's nothing you can do. JDG make it look extremely simple.
Yeah, I think that's the crucial part about this, is it just looks so clinical from them. A very, very stable draft as well, so I expect that to kind of be the moniker so far in this series. But it's also a situation where, you know, Alex Kaisa's dead. It's gone. It lost. Yes, Gala maybe wanted that champion later on in the series, but that big pick is gone now, and you really have to start thinking what this 2v2 in the bot lane is going to continue looking like, and what that jungle matchup is going to be. I expect JDG to come back with a vengeance in this next one. No more Vi. Give them something that can go toe-to-toe at least with Junja on the other side.
Ow. That's all I'm going to say about that one. I think we were talking about Xiaohu, how he had a fairly quiet split one, and against AL looked great. It felt a lot like split one here. I think you're playing a Ryze that should win in side lane, have access to side lane. We saw one play under Gala where he gets a great ult, gets a kill. That was it. There was no other ults that did anything really. And this is kind of the problem I was talking about a little bit earlier, where other regions in the world, especially the LCK, are destroying games with the Ryze. In the LPL, it's not really finding any value. It's not doing well. And in this game, it did basically nothing. I think that we need to see, you know, Xiaohu on something that he's comfortable on, that he can actually have an impact in the game, because I think a lot of Weibo just weren't really connected together in that game. You know, jungle wasn't really that active, making plays, looking for ganks. The top lane was almost invisible. For, not as if Aurora needs, can be 10-0 on Scion, but Arha, I don't think he hit a single Pop Blossom. I was talking about creativity on this pick. It didn't happen. I don't think Weibo played bad. Like, they just didn't play. They kind of sat there, waited for the game to come to them.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Exactly. I'm just disappointed in Weibo right now.
It's a tough one, especially when we've seen such proactive games from them in their lower bracket run, which has been incredible. There's nothing to discount that so far, but my God, that steepness of the gold graph looks like you're climbing up to Mount Everest at that point. And again, I think all those damage numbers you see on the right side for Weibo, those should all just be attributed to damage taken by Xiaoxiu, and Gala was able to free fire in so many different ways.
Like, Xiaoxiu is a Scion against Aurora. He's not farming damage numbers. He's not even hitting. And Xiaohu on Rise did less.
Yeah.
This is like top 3 mid in the world globally. If you look at play rate and win rate, it is really, really strong. And it just couldn't find anything. I think the JDG, they didn't reveal anything there. They've shown exactly what they've been showing. We want to play through, bot prior. We're going to stack Drakes. Junja is great around these skirmishes. Our team fighting is where we are best, and that's what we're going to do.
And they stuck to that like glue, and a lot of that came to, you see the amount of these clips that will have Junja as a part of the kind of key pieces in these fights. And yes, there was a couple of really good side lane plays there from the side of Weibo, but this play, man, this was a backbreaker for Weibo.
Flash! I think maybe, is he CC chaining into dead? He is. Maybe he's spamming. I mean, he could have maybe even flashed out there. He had enough time to. He barriered late as well. This is the setups, right? You can't do anything. Arhat dies before the ult goes off. JDG are still leashing the dragon while they're fighting Weibo off. Like, again, we find a pick. It's very methodical from JDG. It looks very, like, almost LCK-esque. It's very high-level gameplay. And it might, to some, look boring. I'm not some. This is what you want from a team that is looking to go back to finals and looking to qualify for first stand.
I think it's such a cool story. Again, I talked about at the beginning of the game, but if this is going to become true, the fact that this is the kind of first split back in this this setup, at least for Junja, but also for his duo from CFO days and all the hype that was built up by Hankyu that last year. It's been really, really fun to watch their story so far, and we're going to continue watching it if things are going to continue going like this. I'm just still mind blown that it was like 1 turret and 4 kills for a professional League of Legends team in the top 4, top 3 of the LPL top 3. And I just think it's so crazy to me. And, we're hoping to see a better Weibo performing game number 2. Honestly, it's par for the course to have very back and forth games in the early part of the series itself. But one thing we do know about JDG is they've gone the distance every time they've gone to bat. And so we'll see if Weibo can kind of keep that tradition going and give them a run for their money. But I guess next stop we got to talk about is who gets the MVP. Because I think it's got to be Tunja. He was everywhere. He was insane. He kept pressure on Didier the entire early game, invaded multiple times, and found camps right under the nose of one of the best junglers the LPL has to offer.
I wish I could MVP the macro of that game for JDG, but I think Junja
MVP to top it.
Is an easy one. You could give it to potentially Ezreal, but I think that this is great. I think in the past, like I spoke about it a little bit in that game, Junja has been setting the pace a lot for this team, as junglers often do, but it's been too fast, too deep, too quick for his team, too far. This game was not one of those. He put his foot on Weibo and did not take it off in that game at all.
We'll see if he finds another place to rest his feet after this next game. Before we get going, we obviously got to give a huge shout out to our coffee supporters. If you want to support LPL English, the best way to do so is to become a coffee member. You'll find the link in the chat. Vast majority of the payments go directly to the broadcast, either graphics packages, graphics themselves, or paying all the volunteers that make this a daily thing here this year and last. It's been incredible. So if you want to find a way to support us, please go check out our coffee. You also get early access to our podcasts and content that we'll have coming up as well. Now we got to see if Weibo got something coming up here, or if JDG bring us to match point after this little break. We'll see you there. Welcome back, everyone, to LPL English, your unofficial home for everything LPL. I'm Mazel, I'm joined by Jay Beto, and we've got Shivam behind us on production. We have a hot and messy game number one, it felt like, in a lot of ways, and the messiness is on Weibo's side, the hotness maybe on JDG's side, with how dominant it was, how one-sided it was, how they had full neutral objective control, which rarely happens at this level of play.
Yeah, it was like having like a really nice taco. You know, you bite into it, it's hot, but it also makes a ton of mess. And that's fun. That's good. You know, I like tacos. I don't know if you like tacos. I didn't know
you get a lot of tacos in Australia. That's pretty awesome.
We do have some very not authentic chains. If anyone...
Taco Bell?
There is a few Taco Bells, but very similar. You know, there's one called Mad Mex and another one called Guzman and Gomez. They're very, very nice. But yeah, nice taco that you have. Maybe it's chicken and you take a bite and it's like, man, this is really good. But then it's all messy, right? That's kind of what that game was a little bit. It wasn't messy as in scrappy, but it was really like Weibo didn't really connect to that game.
Yeah. We're hoping their connection issues will be resolved going into game number 2. Absolutely. But let's talk about the draft a little bit from that game number 1, because I think it was very clear when we were coming out of it that there was an execution threshold that needed to be met by Weibo that was way higher than the execution threshold for JDG, who just needed to calm down, play slowly, and group up. And they did exactly that.
Yeah, I think the Kaiser on R5 was really something for me. I technically it's like B5 from traditional drafting, right? But still, it's the last pick into the Ezreal Karma. I don't really like this. It's a great pairing, but it's so hard to play in an Ezreal Karma. And then it's mostly this Rise, right? I just didn't feel like Weibo were able to execute on their side lanes at all. They were late to grouping. They didn't have push at all later on in the game. And that's just kind of how the game went. It was just push for JDG and then Dragon sit up and then wait.
Dune just feeling a little nasty after that game. He had to wash his hands off. He's like, I can't be caught around with these fists of fury. I really want to see JJ kind of put up a better performance. I think while we could talk about the nuances of what the carries did in that game, I think the main driving force was our spotlight matchup tonight in the jungle, and the fact that Junja just kind of ran the entire show for game number 1. But we'll be getting into game number 2 now. Start talking about some of the drafts and picks that we want to see, at least going into a game 2, and maybe a little bit more agency for JJ on the side of Weibo.
Poppy ban, Pantheon ban. I don't believe... The Poppy definitely wasn't banned because I remember the Vi coming through. So a bit of a change up here. Weibo on the red side. It's traditional drafting here. So I assume that means that Weibo took second pick and JDG then obviously took blue side. Banning away the Orianna and the Rumble in this game too so far. I mean, what else is left up? Ambessa was banned last. Varus as well. So I assume... Alright, well, one of them is going to be left open.
I am very curious that we are going to get that opening and see who wants to kind of build a comp around that in a way. I do love the barn pick, or at least ban away, to kind of keep that away from Arha, but also potentially leave it open for Vampire in the future, who is also an incredible bard in his own right. But we'll be waiting on this final ban from Weibo.
Varus. I think it's got to... Okay, both of them are up. So Varus is like primed, right? There's no Vi. Jarvan's out. Bard's out. You have, like, it's Sivir, right? So you have to play Sivir. But then do you want to take away, like, an Alistar? You could go pretty easily Varus Alistar. It's not a bad combo. And then Sivir is, like, really kneecapped. You could also go Anivia, which learnt about that matchup the other day. I like the Nocturne. Get some globals for Weibo. But the problem is they had a global last time, and it didn't go so well.
Not a fan. Not a fan, Jay Beta. Not a fan. I just find... I don't know. Maybe I feel like he's a fraud Nocturne, that is.
Okay, Yunara.
Really good utility pick for the team, but I feel like you become a light switcher like 9 times out of 10. Sometimes you have those pop-off games, and maybe that's JDG this time around, but he's really in service to buying space for Elk on the Yunara. We queued up a Yunara pick earlier from Elk, and he plays that champion right on that edge, and I want to see that this time around.
Okay. If this is picked here, I'm really surprised because Bard's up. Oh, sorry, Braum is up. I don't like Varus Nautilus. Okay, fine. That's fine. I don't really like this because I think Braum is great into this. It also allows you to just go any other engage support. Leona, Rel, Nautilus is a little bit slower than that. It does mean you have engage and lockdown onto Yunara, which is nice, but I don't love picking your support unless it's like Karma or Nico or something that's like guaranteed to give you push and can't really be countered, like a Seraphine Ashe, but Renekton here, pretty nice. I mean, you could go Gnar. I think JDG are being very broad with their picks. One of these will go uncounted so far. You can ban away, but one of them will be counted. We've seen Gnars get massive leads against the Renekton. We
have, and Zika is no slouch in that regard. I love Zika's Gnar, especially from his time on LNG all that time ago. But it is going to be the Gnar locked in for him into that Renekton pick. The thing I'll say about JDG, though, is they're giving themselves a lot of avenues already in the first 3 picks, at least with the Varus and the Renekton, to have multiple carries, to have multiple strong pieces in some of these fights.
Support for both teams here. And you could go Lulu for Arha, a good pairing with the Yunara, but you're against a Nautilus. Oh, sorry, not supports for both teams. Supports for Arha. Jungler is what I meant to say for JDG. Yeah, you could go Lulu, but you're against a Nautilus, so that's a bit scary. It is a decent matchup for Nautilus, but then you do give your Yunara a Lulu. And then in the jungle, I think you can kind of go anywhere. We're banning away some more AD junglers, but we've seen Maokai rising up. We've seen a lot of crazy picks. I mean, Kha'Zix has been getting priority too.
From these 2 guys in particular.
Exactly.
Seeing some crazy stuff.
I think from both these guys, well, we saw Olaf and a Warwick on each, like, I think Ginger played the Olaf. Probably not this game because no Enchanter, and JJ already picked his jungler, but there's some crazy picks happening in the LPL right now.
I do wonder in this second phase, what Weibo tie their pieces together with if they do go for a little bit more of an Enchanter style support for the Yunara carry of Elk. We did get the at least Ahri ban towards JDG, so really taking away some of those mobile pieces from the solo lanes. It will be that Lulu ban by JDG as their final ban, and now Weibo need to put the pieces together. They will have the counter pick available, but we'll see what they want to save that for.
I don't like this. I don't like this. The reason I don't like this is you can see support. I would just pick the support pairing with Yunara. Counter, you already see there's a Renekton, a Varus. Like, you need to be able to get through the lane and counter pick mid against Honkyu here. But instead, Xiaohu is on another global. Didn't look great on the Rise last game. You've invested a lot into global, and that playstyle didn't work last time. You have to have impact on side lane. Honkyu, okay. Magic jungler then, right? We have to. Lilia, Zyra, Nidalee. Nidalee Renekton's a really good combo. It's very difficult. Zyra, I like it.
Look at the smile on Juju's face there too. He just knows he's cooking. Okay, and then he goes back to the tree. He goes to the Maokai that we've been seeing rise in priority, and Junja pulled out an excellent one in one of their last series. So I really am excited for this comp coming together, but feels like there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen for JDG.
Yeah, see, I really feel like you could have picked the Rel earlier. I don't necessarily think that you needed to see Yone Maokai to pick Rel. And the Talia, okay, yeah, it is a counter into the Yone, so Honkyu does opt to counter pick himself, but my worry is for the game plan. Like, it's very similar from Weibo to last game. You've got Elk on a later game carry, not as late game, but still needs items, and then pieces around him that need to support him in roam, and that's didn't work last time. On JDG's side, it's team fighting again. Who would have thought? We have catch potential with the Nautilus. We have a Yone, Maokai, who's presumably going to go full AP, so his saplings are going to do a ton of damage as well, and that ult, it's very similar to how JDG were playing in game 1. Press R, I secure the dragon with Q Smite. It's mine. Take the team fight after.
Hey, why not stick to what's been working out for you? Are we feeling a little bit more confident about this Weibo team, at least in game 2?
I have to be, I guess. You know, I think it's not
obligated. Yeah,
I like that the CC is there from Xiaohu. Rise has CC too, but it's a bit more range for this comp as well. The team fighting is pretty decent. I like the Rel. The Nocturne is very, very strong globally. My concern for this team right now is how they looked in that game 1 with a very similar style of draft with the globals. They've invested a lot in draft onto the globals, and if that doesn't work, they're going to get out-team fought.
And it just feels like Weibo, what they're doing is they're going through the greatest hits of Elk so far this split and trying to figure out, does it work with any comp outside of that? But it hasn't looked together yet. And again, we worry about the setup in this game too. But Weibo need to turn it on now, or they are backs against the wall. JDG versus Weibo. Game 2 starts now.
I will say, Mazel, the Weibo chants are a little bit louder. they're a bit louder, but JDG have the chant leader, and that guy's the GOAT. So I feel like it evens out. You know, you have the JDG leader, but Weibo have the noise. So I don't know which one's got a more powerful buff. Nice little crash down.
Love that we get the Arha Rel here. A lot of lockdown to pair up with that Yunara early on. The lethal tempo has been procced already by Elk, and he's getting some extra damage on the vampires. Going to be very worse for wear from this early trade here. A little bit of a, you know, back and forth comparatively to that game number 1, and seeing a lot more strength and at least confidence from Elk and Arha.
Both junglers have wards on the Raptors, so teams will know where the junglers are pathing. But I want to quickly do I guess a checklist on these lanes. So in top lane, it's a skill matchup for the Gnar. We have seen some destructive Gnar against Renekton in favor of the Gnar, but from my knowledge, from what I've heard some players talking about, the Gnar just needs to not miss any CS and get the plated steel caps as soon as possible. Especially this game, right? You're against Varus. Still trade back from Xiaohu there. In mid, Hongqiu just needs, boots, first item, feels decent. And then in bot lane, you can see that the push for Elk on this Yunara because of the Q does a ton in that level 1 trade. So at least this game for Weibo, they won't have multiple losing lanes where they're down tempo, or at least that bot really, really big difference that we saw with the Ezreal Karma.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a different tale this time around, but I do still expect a lot of contests in the lanes themselves. But I now want to focus on that jungle matchup. Since we talked about all the lanes, it will be the kind of opposite side starts for both junglers heading down in opposite directions. But who really, it has to be JDG that needs to get an advantage in this setup. Maokai is just good at any point in the game, it feels like.
Yeah, if you walk in 1v1 and it turns into a 2v2 and it's Yone Maokai, that doesn't feel very fun for the Nocturne. But the Nocturne is underneath. Just off to the side here. We'll hit Q and then end up walking away a bit. I think JJ was trying to force a flash out maybe. Junja got a ward onto Raptors again, looking for potentially an invade as another nice little trade down bot in favor of Weibo. I'm not convinced, Mazel, and I'll tell you what I'm not happy about this game. So JDG have 3 TPs, right? Obviously, Gala, the lethality virus sometimes sometimes can go the TP. Xiaohu is going Ghost again, which we saw in game 1. This is another situation where if Weibo are not great on the side lanes, he's going to be down a TP and not able to join these fights.
We'll have the Weaver's Ball, but that is slim pickings when you're looking to come join fights consistently. That's going to be really interesting to keep an eye out on, especially the macro that we saw JDG so efficient with last game is going to be that much easier to pull off with 3 TPs around the map itself. We're going to be getting to those second clears from the junglers. There's a lot of pings from JDG down towards this bot lane. Wants to get something going there, but not even close to level 6 yet, so it would have to be just a dry gank.
especially with this. Well, hold on.
Maybe Arha going to make the difference here, as it does get the flash out of Vampire. That'll be revisited, and it got the flash out of Gala too. Meanwhile, mid lane, little Bramble Smash action. Xiaohu trying to do a little bit of moves there, but can't get the lockdown on Junja. One more Bramble Smash, the auto, the sapling, it's not enough. Xiaohu makes it out alive, barely. Less than 10 health there, both Summoner spells burned. Gala overstood. He already used his flash. He gets double locked down. Elk trying to get the distance here with the reset of the auto. The flash comes through just to make sure.
All right, Gala. This is 2 in a row, man. This is exactly how you died in game 1. And we're doing it again. It's an overstep. And I mean, Elk has to use flash, but really nice gank in mid there from Junjo. I guess I should say stay as Dominus in top.
They could just lost Meganar, so Xiaosu taking advantage of that one quickly. There's some really lopsided trades going on across the map already. We will have the dragon up on the table here. Weibo are in position if they want to start that one up, but we did see some hesitancy on the earlier parts of the objective setups, at least from Weibo's side.
Yeah, so the thing about JDG this game is if they are set up around an objective, it is so difficult to walk in because there's a Nautilus hook anywhere in a bush, there's Chains of Corruption in a bush, there's a Yone ulting you over a wall, there's Maokai saplings in any bush that you have to walk into, and then there's the Nature's Grasp as well. If Weibo were there first, it can be a little bit tough for JDG to retake, but I think that if the situations are JDG is there first, it is almost impossible for Weibo to retake without just committing their globals. They do have a way of getting in, but that might just end up costing them their life if they're not perfect around their engaged timer. Dragon has spawned, but JDG won't have the bot push this time to start it up immediately as they did in game 1.
Still waiting on the Weibo getting their first neutral objective of the series timer.
We are.
At some point, I'm sure it'll come up. Something else I want to talk about a little bit is trend setting for both these teams. Is if we could bring up the last finals of these two teams, we're able to make it to like as orgs. As I speak about it, Arha just gets caught out here. We'll talk about that in just a second. As he dies to a piercing arrow, it's going to be Elk having to use his cleanse to get away from that one. And JDG said, no, you don't get to talk about that. We are going to make something happen on the bot lane 2v2.
Just back here in mid. That's
ult. The Fate Sealed use. He's going to try to get in range with the Nature's Grasp. Is going to use the Twisting Advance. The Bramble Smash kill from Junja. And it is just looking like JDG are connected at the hip here across all 5 members.
And that a Q got buffed in 26.3, so does an extra little bit more damage there. But nice hook in bot lane, finds a kill onto Arha, evens up the bot lane a lot more. I think we could probably go now. I mean, the dragon is up, but with Junja on the other side of the map, I assume that this is going to be a free dragon over to Weibo. Unless Vampire somehow steals it with his hook, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they're going to leave it. I think they're going to let Weibo get their first neutral objective of the series. And it'll be an 8-minute dragon, not too shabby. Xiaosu and Zika going at it, but Zika's about to get Meganar, so you have to be really careful as Xiaosu. But the next objective, next trend, will be that grub setup on the other side, which is looking like it's already being started by Junja.
Yeah, just a trade. Again, grub's not super prioritized in this meta so far, but with a Yone in the side lane, it can be really nice to allow him to do that, and taking away from Nara is good here. But here we can see the last LPL finals for both these players. For both these teams. It's been a while.
That JDG picture is going to hurt a lot of fans there. 2023 seemed like the golden year. But it's been a while since they've been back to that precipice. Last year it felt like a train wreck, unfortunately. And for Weibo, it's been a long little while since they found themselves at the top. Already making one of the top finishes for the org here in their history in this playoff run. And now we're taking a look at the next steps for both teams. We're getting closer and closer to those first items. Level 6s are already across the board. Do we see it up in tempo, a little bit of up in pressure between the two teams? And do you favor either side in this kind of mid-game section that we're going to be coming up on?
Two of these items, I think that will help us answer the question. And ults are available for Weibo, they're globals, which is quite nice, but there aren't any strong item spikes So I think that the ults favor JDG around a dragon, right? Around any kind of skirmish. I think that Weibo have to be better around their setups. You know, lack for a better word, just better. They need to be first, their vision needs to be better, they need to take appropriate team fights when they can, if they're up numbers, because if they let JDG get in, it's going to look very similar to last game, where, like I said before, you're walking into a ton of CC, including these Maokai saplings.
And I hate to be the hater, but I'm going to be giving a very introspective look to this Nocturne all game long, because it was a team that banned away the Orianna, the typical combo. They are wanting this pick that has been very tough to find wins on in the LPL so far this year, and something that JDG has returned to time and time again, but it has to pay off. When you are facing a comp like this with all the setup, it's tough. Maybe this is going to be the payoff here. Paranoia, first one used, and it's beautifully timed. Mega Gnar ult from Zika, and a kill for Weibo.
Great timer. 2.5 minutes on the dragon. Xiaoshu caught out a little bit. I think that it's probably a kill either way. Maybe not. Maybe Xiaoshu. Oh, hold on. Ult in mid. Will just be surfed away by Xiaohu there. Some gnarly rock waves. Arha does have flash.
Nice little double CC chain with the crash down there, and Junja's going to have to flash. Uses the Brandle smash, is out of there. Big fate sealed right back from Hongyu, buys so much space for JDG.
I can't believe he lived there. And the very comfortable base in front of entire Weibo team. No sweat.
Maokai
off of off of Junja's forehead there. But, I mean, Weibo find a pick up in the top lane. I think Hongyu saves his jungler there really, really nicely. But Weibo with the first Drake, you know, okay, they lost Grubs, but they're in a decent position, you know, finishing some of these first item spikes. Kraken finished. The experimental Hex Plate for JDG finished as well. So if we're going to make these skirmish plays happen with Nocturne ult into top, you know, try to catch out Junja in the mid lane who's being disrespectful with his positioning, I think Weibo are in a much better spot than game one.
We're hoping you can see a little bit of this life given. It's much better position to be in than they were last game. Let's just start off with that statement at least. We are finally reaching that first item precipice here for everyone. And it is going to be that dragon coming up in about a minute. I would expect there to be a little bit of presence from JDG, not wanting to give over as many early neutral objectives to Weibo.
Yeah, so all the summoners are available. I think the most important one is that Arha flashes up. He didn't need to use it to get that, or a almost kill onto Junja. Being able to Q flash someone is really, really nice. Remember, Gala doesn't have cleanse. Being able to, you know, flash in an R or W crash down. But look at the movement. Look at the map movements. Look where JDG is. It's 25 seconds, and he's late to this objective again.
Poke damage from Hongyu there. Little also side fact here, Junja really the only AP damage focus for the side of JDG. Love that he went for the Leandries first. Get a little bit of extra damage here. You saw that damage kind of come to work for Arha. Xiaosu will be pushed off in the top side. Ultis used without abandon from both of them. TPs available for both as well as JDG start up the dragon. Yeah,
this should be done. I think if Weibo go in now, it's really bad. But yeah, like what you mentioned with the AP saplings, I think some of the most annoying things to walk into in this game are, you know, Teemo shrooms. If you've ever played against a Teemo jungle, that sucks, man. There's just shrooms everywhere. Shaco is another one when he goes AP and the box is just one-shot you. But Maokai saplings with full AP, if you're a carry and you're squishy, that sucks too. It really does. You're slowed. A lot of the time, your team will like run them into you as well. That's awful. And I think a big part of this comp, nice ult here from Zika.
Xiaosu should be fine. Does have some rage coming up. Okay, they're not going to get a heal off there in the end. He did just use TP, and Zika did not. So a bit of an advantage there for the top laner of Weibo. Or also getting a little bit closer to these quests being completed. Very close to the entirety of Weibo. Very close, at least, to Vampire finishing his on JDG, but we'll have the Rift Herald coming up in about 50 seconds. I think it's so funny. Both teams have a either 30 or sub 30% objective focus on the Rift Herald, but somebody's got to get it in this series, and so their percentage is going to be going up here, J Beto.
Yeah, that's really what we're fighting for here. I mean, first stand is it's good, you know, finals, whatever, but objective dominance around the Herald, exactly. That's where we are fighting for. Lila around the Herald. It's another fairly slow game from both these teams. This is obviously a really important match, so it's not surprising to see the game be slowed down. I think that it is a bit surprising to see from JDG, but this is good for them. Again, they've had problems with being way too fast, specifically from Junja. If he can set the pace, and it's like a reasonable pace like this, I like it.
I really appreciate that reservation that we've seen from them so far. Maybe a little stern talking to from Tabe after their losses, but it still shows such a different level of that kind of reservation, but also just the tactician's mind that we've seen coming out from JDG so far in this series. We'll see if it's enough, though. I do still really like some of the scaling opportunities for Weibo themselves, but I think it's going to be a really interesting conversation once we get to the 2-3 item setup here. Is JDG going to start up the Rift Herald?
Again, my issue is we are Talia Nocturne, and I haven't. There's been one ult. We're TPing in now, so Weibo don't want to give this up.
So we're tired of losing these neutrals. The thing is, though, we're getting a deploy from Xiaosu out, and he has the portals to get through with the Hextech Rift. This might end up being a little bit of a prolonged fight, and we're talking about those TP advantages. Hongq has TP to get up here.
He does. There's the wall to separate Gala. Flash away, so Arha misses his engage. Here comes the roots.
Nature's Grass coming across. Only going to hit onto Arha. Paranoia gets popped. I don't know if they see the flank here. They are going to find it in the end. JJ tries to go over to Xiaosu. Does use the slice and dice really nicely. Turret goes down in the side lane. That's going to be first turret to Hongq. And honestly, I do not mind this from JDG. Hongq will be so difficult to deal with if he can get to a place of promise.
Yeah, so Hongq, like, he does counterpick himself by picking the Yone. Take a look at the gold difference in mid. That is CS and plates only. He has an assist. Gala
trying to go for the flash play. Elk wants one more auto, but can't do it without taking too much damage. Piercing arrow does hit on the back end too. Now he's surrounded. Depth charge is going to be used. He's going to be locked down. Junja trying to get in range. One more bramble smash right into the waiting arms, and Junja will pick up the kill now. Hongq has arrived. Fate Seal goes right in on the JJ, and JJ not tanky enough to deal with it. The snapback's going to get the kill on him anyways, and that's going to be a couple quick bang bang plays from JDG.
There's no ults for Weibo. They have no Paranoia. They have no Weaver's Wall. So Hongq's first. Junja flashes in for the kill onto Elk. Gala lives. Okay, his flash is down, but if you're valuing flash on Varus against Yunara, I think Yunara flash is more important, especially against a Yone. So he cleanses the ult. Elk goes a little bit too far forward here because, look, Hongq's roaming. JJ doesn't have ult to join, so Junja is first. Nice kill for Junja with the range from this Varus. He's able to come back as well. And Xiaohu is on roaming mid with global ult, and he is being beaten by Hongq 2 games in a row.
OTP does wild things as well, and I gotta say, the combination that they drafted for was JJ with the Paranoia to buy time and space for Elk. When that combo isn't up, it's so difficult to execute this comp. Dragon is up now.
No flash on Elk and no cleanse either. There's no Mikhails. Nature's Grasp is available. Again, look at the positions from JDG. They're wrapping around the bottom and the top side. They're choking Weibo out.
Comes the Nature's Grass. Paranoia is going to be popped. Hongq's looking for the straight kill on the JJ. JJ gets the smite fight there. We know him to be the best smiter of the tournament so far. It felt like Arha going for the engage. They go straight on to Gala. Meganar hits as well. Hongq and Junja cannot join the fight, and Weibo have found the perfect split, but Hongq finally joins. Finally comes over. Gala is still alive. The rocks are not enough to take him down. It's like the Matrix up in here for JDG. Weibo left wanting time and time again in this series so far. All members still alive for JDG.
I don't know exactly if you saw what happened there, Mazel, as Xiaohu will be chased down. He might be able to get this execute, but when we get this replay, I want you to watch what happens. I'm not going to spoil it. Watch what happens to Na when the Weaver's Wall is put through, because it completely ruins the fight. I think that JDG, they start the fight out trying to kill JJ, who gets the smite steal. That's a really important part of this. It's not that bad for Weibo. You know, they lose some, but JJ gets the dragon. This is really nice. But I just want you to watch what happens to Zika in this play. So, really nice smite steal. Here we go. So, JDG is split up here, which is bad for JDG's comp. But here comes the Weaver's Wall. Zika, nice ult. Where is it? Here it comes. Look what happens.
He gets stuck
in
over the wall.
He gets pushed over the wall, and Gala lives. He's on top of Gala, and he lives because Zika gets pushed over the wall.
And I hate to bring it up for Xiaohu, but at the beginning of the split, in those first 2 weeks, when we were questioning his ability, he had one of the ugliest Talia walls I had ever seen, and it ruined a fight for his team. Now we're seeing that here all the way at the end of the split. Their potential last series, if they don't pull it around, and they are falling behind in this game. There will be a little bit of a recompense. They were able to get that side lane turret. It will fall immediately on the other side in a return from Honkyu, who now is 3,000 gold up, and JDG have started the Baron.
This is just gone. I don't think that Vision Plant saw...
It doesn't know.
Is up, but I think it's just done. I think the Baron is gone. This is a T1 Baron. They'll know now, but it's done.
Oh, it's too late. JJ just throws his life away. He wanted the smite win, but he doesn't even come close.
That is so sneaky from JDG there, Weibo. I mean, they found the win with getting that dragon, but the vision control for JDG, look at the top side wards. It's perfect. And Weibo check last second. JJ is not able to get in with the ult. Honkyu is up 3.3 thousand gold against Xiaohu in a matchup that is not easy for Yone.
It is not, and Honkyu's doing an excellent job here. Xiaohu will end up finding a little bit of a trade on him, but nobody else can really come deal with Honkyu either. It's just been incredibly reserved. Again, I think from JDG, they know what their expected outcomes are. They know how to play around those, and we are getting to those 3-item spikes that we were longing for this JDG team. And there's still another question to ask in about 2 minutes. There's going to be a dragon that Weibo have to answer to, and they've gotten one in a row of this soul, but they need to try to get this advantage going for themselves.
There is a possibility for Weibo to give up this Drake. You know, it's only one for JDG, but with the Baron, how much are you going to lose? How much is the gold going to balloon? There's so much standing gold with these towers, Mazel. So if JDG hadn't got the Baron, Weibo could have given the dragon, gotten time to get some more items on Xiaohu. You know, 3 items on Elk is nice. Xiaoshu.
Okay, he's in a little bit of trouble. Does have a decent amount of healing. Paranoia is going to come through. He should just die outright now. JJ finds the kill there. It's going to be the Nature's Grass that got used defensively, while JDG also take the mid lane outer turret. All outer turrets are down now for Weibo, so no defensive structures out on the edges of the rift.
That's kind of what we need to be seeing more of from this team comp, but you're losing so much. You get a kill on the Xiaoshu, take a Baron away, sure, but you can't get a dragon, you can't get any towers, you lose mid tower, you lose plates in top lane. 3.6k gold lead for Honkyu.
Insane.
That's pretty tough. That's pretty tough.
He's an item and a half ahead of Xiaohu right now. That is despicable.
I don't think Xiaohu does damage this game. We need
the
literally 20 more minutes.
Just a little caveat for Xiaohu, something we didn't really mention as well, as the Talia is incredibly good into this style of comp with the Unraveled Earth. Like, moving through that in the fight, if it's positioned well, is so difficult for a lot of the moving pieces of JDG. But that's a far cry from winning an entire fight when you're down this heavily, and Dragon is up now.
Well, Baron is just wearing off, so no more waves, but top, or, you know, the mid prio being generated in JDG are here first. They're together. They're sweeping away the vision. Weibo are not ready. Again, this is a dragon that you are okay with giving, and that's fine. Get this top tower. Yeah, it's okay. You know, it is gold. It's not a lot of gold, but it is gold. But I think that, like you mentioned, the Talia can be very utility-based. I haven't seen enough utility to play around Elk, and that wall is still, like, circling my brain right now, that last wall, and it's not
living rent-free,
not
bro.
making me think nice things.
He won't like you better when he's angry. We'll see what happens if Xiao can kind of clean up some of these performances, though. But I will give some caveats that there is some serious team fight potential on either side. But a lot of it is going to be execution based. If we're going off that, I think JDG have earned the respect in this series to be taking that one. 3 items for Hongq. Infinity Edge completed. Insane power spike for a Yone. We've all seen this before. Now it's up to Hongq to pilot this one to victory.
So, Xiaohu just based. I thought surely he's got Zhonya's. No. So it is Bork, Shield Bow, Infinity Edge, Yone, level 16 against level 14 Seraph's Talia. That's it. He has Seraphs and an arm guard and some change. That's it. So Xiaohu is so much stronger. Like the gold doesn't. Sometimes we've seen gold leads that don't mean a ton. 3 items are already completed. You feel in a good spot, especially if it's a scaling 80 carry. The gold leads can be a little fake sometimes. This is the most real gold lead in a lane I've ever seen in my entire life. In fact, JDG are up 3.6k gold. Hongq is up more than his entire team is combined.
That's insane, actually. We'll see if it comes to bear, though. And I love that story for Hongq. I mean, I think everyone was wowed by this guy last year with all of the hoops that he was jumping through on the international stage from the LCP. And it was a pleasure to see him coming over to the LPL and get his shot right alongside his jungle duo in Junja. And he's been, again, I said it earlier, a breath of fresh air to the LPL. His style, even in losses, he still continues to play his way. And now JDG going to potentially get caught here, but Junja is one with the forest and gets out.
May the forest be with you, Junja. And it was. I know that this is the last time I'm going to say this, but maybe 4,000 gold. Look at the CS difference in this mid lane. That is... It is 26 minutes, and Hongq has 320 CS. Is that allowed? I might be the only one here right now. Team fights happening. Looks like a TP in as the Paranoia onto Arha, and it'll take him down. Dominus has been popped. And JDG completely... Oh, we're back?
We're back. We're so back. What did I miss? JDG winning again? It does look really tough to enter here as Arha is gone. That's a massive setup tool that's not named JJ for Weibo. And I think Weibo's just going to have to win a Smite fight. They're going to have to rely on JJ, who's been the golden hand at Smite, but he's dead. He just died outright to Hongq. That man just said, sit down. This purple worm is ours. Elk's going to step up, but he's going to walk into Hongq too. Fate Seal's going to come through. Elk does dash away, but Elk is now caught in the midst of all of JDG. Big unraveled earth there from Xiaohu. He will get the 1 kill back, but that's slim pickings for Weibo as he's going to get ran down.
Yeah, it might actually be a leave. Looks like Xiaohu will somehow live on 80 health. But, yeah, JDG again. It's these objective setups. They are just so much better than Weibo in this series at playing around objectives. It feels like JDG have lost all of their mistakes around overplaying the setup. JJ gets 1 shot. He flashes away and still dies to the snapback damage, and Elk is the only remaining damage. Xiaohu, again, he still is very poor. I think Elk plays this well. Hongq misses everything, and he still gets 1 shot.
And he still gets him in the end. Gala comes through with the hail of arrows, and I just can't give enough props to Hongq. This is his first split in the LPL. He is putting up incredible numbers. He is hanging with the best of the best, some of the veterans we've had for so many years. And he's honestly walking Xiaohu down the lane at this point. I'm not saying there's a leash involved, but he's walking. And JDG's looking really strong, about 5.3 thousand gold up. Still the Dragon up available for them as well, which they'll be doing with just Hongq.
He is nearly 5,000 gold up. I will say Xiaohu did buy a full Rabadon, so there is some AP. Like, what is that, 380 I can see there on Xiaohu, but it's just not enough. There is so much burst damage from JDG, so much quick application of said damage. Elk is really the carry right now because of how strong Hongqiu is and how weak Xiaohu is. So Elk needs to live, but you can see that when JDG can't steal the objective, Elk dies first. He is the first target. JDG's team fighting remains on top.
Any ADC hates to see a Yone coming, even when they are low or not extremely ahead, and Hongqiu's extremely ahead. Also, congratulations to Gala for 700 total games. That's a lot of games in the LPL, and you love to see it. And we said, you know, as long as there's not a big gap in the bot lane, it will let the rest of JDG function, and function they have. Gala has been stalwart there against Elk, and it really enables the other pieces of JDG.
I think as well, this is kudos to Tabe or whoever, you know, did the Lulu ban. If this is Lulu for Arha, Hongqiu can't really do what he's doing. He goes in, gets polymorphed, and he's not really allowed to play the game as much. But the Lulu ban means that it's not an enchanter to protect Elk. It ends up being this Rel, who Arha has had a quiet series. He's had a very quiet game too. I don't necessarily think it's his fault. He's engaging into a 5,000 gold lead Yone. He is just pressing tab and saying Naisu Gameu. There's like nothing really he can do. The teamfight is done before he can. Mazel, this game is kind of over. I mean,
it's feeling like it.
We've seen throws, but this feels almost unwinnable. It's Hextech Soul as well, with saplings and Varus damage with the range. You can't even move.
It's really tough. And honestly, it's starting to beg the question, is Weibo run out of gas in the tank, right? It's been an incredible lower bracket run. And shout out to you on Twitter, specifically the upper bracket matchup, the finals. Whoever loses that has a really hard time usually making it into finals, with that percentage being under that 50% mark. And maybe JDG just have what it takes to use those silver scrapes buffs that they've gotten in every series they've played to make it to that final.
Yeah, Xiaohu's going some pen now, so like the Zhonya's isn't finished. It's a one-time use, that's fine. But then, like normally you'd love Rylai's on Talia, maybe a Leandry's as well, to get through some of the HP that's being built up by this Maokai, by the Yone at this point. With the Jack Show completed, this Yone is completely unkillable. But it's just the Seraphs and the Rabadons, and Elk is getting close to his 4th item. This Yunara does do damage, but there's so much damage on JDG's side that, again, if Elk's dead, the fight is done.
And I just think that the biggest thing here is the fact that, again, it's just been full JDG control the entirety of the time. Like, watching them work around the map, the macro that they've been willing to play with. I mean, they are circling around potentially a 3rd Baron of the game at 33 minutes in. And it's just been impeccable. They seem to have learned so much from their previous outings and even their loss.
You're talking about what's better, the upper bracket buff or the lower bracket buff? It seems
the
to me...
The 5-game buff.
Yeah, the back-to-back-to-back 3-in-a-row game 5 buff is quite a lot better. I want to talk a little bit about, you know, the drafting, mostly for next game, to be honest. But the last 2 for Weibo, I don't necessarily think that the drafts are bad. I think that this is so unlike Weibo. The side lane punishes in the series against AL were nice, but they haven't really done anything in this series. A little bit more in this game. You know, they found some kills. The dragons are okay, but there's been no real side lane action. A little bit from JJ, none from Xiaohu at all. He's used one Weaver's Wall, traumatized his entire team, and then never pressed R again. I feel like if you're drafting a comp like this, you have to be more proactive.
We will have at least the GA completed for JJ. We'll see a little bit more oomph in the tank at least, but feels like this dragon in about 20 seconds could just be one of the final nails in the coffin for Weibo in game number 2 and push them to a match point against JDG and potentially their last series of this split. JDG are already forward in front of the Dragon. It's going to be up to Weibo to find a way in.
This is Sol here. Here's the paranoia.
He's
maybe
looking for a target. He's looking for an angle. Nature's Grasp delays it. Nature's Grasp denies it. He doesn't even use it. And now Honkyu tries to find a little bit of a knock-up on the JDG, but the spell shield will just
be there. Flash in.
The Unrivaled Earth is there. He's going to get engaged on immediately. The Dragon is already gone over to Dunja, his counterpart all the way from the back of the day at EDG. And now Weibo trying to put together this fight. They're losing some frontline members. They're losing bodies left and right. It's about to be a triple. It's looking like a little bit more for JDG too. Xiaohu gets a hit and a beautiful Nature's Advance release grasp coming through in the initial parts of that fight and ending up in a JDG holistic win in game 2.
JDG's team fights and setup, Mazel, are just perfect. I think Elk played that mechanically really well, but Jezia is not allowed to be in the pit ever this series. He's gotten 2 dragons and a herald. And another soul for JDG. The stat continues, and JDG win game 2 in one of the most convincing games we've seen from them this split.
The CFO duo unkilled in the second game of the series. Multiple banners coming up from the multiple teams that this team was built off of. But an incredible duo star performance from Junja and Honkyu to set the stakes of this series.
I have to say, I was expecting more from Weibo. I was genuinely concerned for JDG that, I mean, Weibo have beaten them both times in the regular season. They are looking really good against AL. Okay, a similar score to JDG when they played against AL, but this is a complete smash so far. Weibo have not done anything. It looks like a different JDG. It looks completely like we're talking about on the podcast, the tiers. JDG is a tier above right now.
Apparently so. Honestly, incredible performances from them in back-to-back games, but just a loss for words for Weibo, for a team that had been so efficient, so fun to watch in this lower bracket, has gone quietly limp here in this potentially last series. And it's really something to say for JDG, the approach they've had, maybe some of the prep they had coming into Weibo, a team, like you had said, gotten the better of them throughout the regular season there. But it was an entire team performance this time around. Yet again, the draft, very plain on paper to execute in a lot of ways, having that kind of tankiness and the setup through Junja as well. And Maokai's looking really good right now. And I think JDG are going to be very happy with that pick.
Yeah, well, I'll jump on this one a bit earlier than we did last time. Definitely the Honkyu Pog for this game. He played unbelievably. I've seen that matchup go pretty badly, but for Weibo, it's got to be a completely different look in the draft. Like, we need to bring out the Warwick again. It's got to be something completely different. Again, if you've got anything in the bag, your back's against the wall. It's double match point here for JDG, and they haven't really shown anything. They've been playing very simple. We're going to draft team fighting. We're going to play around Drakes, and they've just done that the entire series so far. I think the macro from this team looks unreal, and the team fighting, they do genuinely look like the best team fighting team in the LPL.
And I think they've learned some of their harsh lessons here, especially at that last series. But it's been multiple team fight comps. It's been really well executed. I think the small saving grace has been that Elk is still looking pretty good in a lot of cases. Couple flashes he's going to want back for sure. But I think the duality of how aggressive Junja has been and how proficient he's been at controlling the map, and the fact that we're not seeing a bot lane gap, we're seeing Gala hold on against Elk, is leaning to so much success for JDG.
In game 3, I needed to not see Gala die for first blood again by getting caught out at like level 4. That's happened both games.
If he wins, does it matter?
You know what? You're right.
You said you like a results-based
analysis. That flash actually mind-controlled Weibo into not being at an objective on time the entire series so far. So Really nice play from Garland. No, but other than that, I think the JDG haven't made any mistakes. They look so much better than Weibo so far, and I say that, I've said that, a few times now, because I didn't expect that at all. I was talking to some people, especially on the LPL team here. This Weibo team looks scary. Slayer, I think on the podcast was saying Weibo ramping up. You got to put your back. You got to put your money with the Magic here. The lower bracket run that this team has been able to do so far. Take it off. Why is this a highlight? No.
Dude, LPL observers go crazy. Anytime they can slander our players. Yeah. Anytime. Oh, God. I didn't even see that. He missed the slice and dice over the wall.
Yeah, this is what the comp should look like, Oh,
my God, dude,
that was a sapling
like Weibo's best hits here.
Oh, my God. That's a lot of damage. Honkyu, an amazing game. JDG are just better so far. That's it. They're just better. They're miles ahead in this series so far.
Yeah, they are. They've used some very good drafting to set themselves up for success. But that is never to say that Weibo is fully out of things. I think that's something of the underdog story that Weibo's developed for themselves, is there just always seems to be a turnaround at some point in the series, even if they look pretty distraught after a game. If there's things that go wrong in a game, we have seen their big bounce backs, and that speaks a lot to the veterancy on this team. They got to find something though, man. They got to look in the bags, get all the camera equipment out, get everything out of the truck, whatever it is, find it, lock it in, and get into this series, because you're one game away from your season being over.
The good news for Weibo is they can ban Pantheon, and there's no more globals. I mean, there is Shen available. We've been seeing a little bit of Shen with this Dusk and Dawn build that's going on. But Xiao, who cannot play a global anymore, Galio, Rise, and Talia are gone. Hoping to see him on something a little bit more team fighting focused. I think that's what JDG want to play. You've tried your own game style. I say tried with a big asterisk there. Take it to JDG. Fight around these dragons.
We'll see if they can do so. I think the first things I want to see are a stable draft. Something easily executable.
Yeah.
Something that on paper already looks like a good comp, that doesn't need any extra conversations or extra phrases to make it look better, and just give themselves that little bit of breathing room, because JDG is not giving them any. And I do expect Honkyu to end up getting... It's Junta! I mean, he was insane. 93% KP on a Maokai, and he literally forced all of the decision making for Weibo. But Honkyu, man, come on. Honkyu, he deserved it.
Sometimes it's like, okay, the mid laner got the MVP, they did a lot of damage, they got the kills, whatever, but it was his team that carried him. No, not this time, I think. But not to take away from Ginger, he's had an amazing series so far. The Maokai was good. Game 1 was amazing. We've been talking about this jungle matchup and what we want to see from these two. It hasn't been a matchup so far. It has been a slaughter.
Yeah, it absolutely has been, and it's one that Weibo have been on the receiving end of so far. JDG have their eyes set on first stand, have their eyes set on that rematch at least with BLG. We'll see if Weibo can wake up into the series, find themselves a game win, or watch JDG ride off into that final sunset. Welcome back to LPL English, one and all, your unofficial home for everything LPL. I'm Mazel, I'm joined by Jay Beto. We've got Shivam behind us on prod, and we have JDG one step away from multiple great accomplishments. First stand 2026, and a date with Destiny, with BLG, in a grand finals for the first time since 2023.
It will be really big. It'll be really important for this roster. Since that 2023 team, this roster hasn't, like the name, I guess, hasn't really found anywhere near the heights. I mean, that was not a lot of teams in their entirety have found success like that roster had, but still getting back to some of it, being in a final, contesting that second place. Remember, this team finished 4th. I'm fairly sure it ended up being 4th after Weibo ended up finishing 3rd. And there's a lot of concerns about this team, question marks. Where is this team going to end up? Well, it's 3rd, 4th minimum here. Third minimum, I should say. But it's looking like a second. Weibo have their backs against the wall. And it's not as if we can make any convincing arguments from the games we've seen for Weibo. We're hoping that they just wake up.
Yeah, that's honestly what we're still hoping for. And we'll hopefully get a better, more concentric draft in game number 3. But I do want to go ahead and bring up the graphic that we had at the beginning, because we need to do some hindsight 2020 here, because we're going to look through those hindsight glasses. Hey, all I'm saying, Tunzu was at the front of the photo the whole time. He doesn't have a skin like you had mentioned, but hey, you could barely see JJ in that photo. So I don't know, context clues or something.
Exactly. I'm not even sure if that is JJ. It's just some random. I see Junja there. He must have been the JDG jungler. No, I'm not going to be. Obviously, JJ's had incredible peaks.
We're having some fun with it for sure.
Junja's spent his time in the LCP, but this is a very fun matchup. I'm sure these players are, going to have fun with it themselves. Have teammates in the past. I'm sure that there'll be, you see it all the time, some good vibes at the end of the series, no matter who wins. But right now, Junja is miles ahead of how JJ's been playing in this series.
We're going to have to find out how that all comes down as we are getting to game 3 here quickly. Let's talk about some draft picks that we really want to see in this game specifically. Maybe some of the compositions that we want to see, Beto.
Rumble. For no reason, no spoilers. I'd love to see a Rumble. I definitely didn't ask for a graphic about Rumble, and I will be totally happy if we don't get Rumble at all. Nah. I would like Rumble. I think it's fun, but mostly for Weibo, I want them to, like you were talking about, a simplistic draft, an identity that holds up, whether that's bot push and a Wukong to team fight with. I think I've been saying this so often, I feel like a broken record. The game is so dragon stacking focused. Bot push is important, jungle matchup is important, but we're getting into draft here. Weibo, their chances of making finals are running out. They need to find something, take first pick this time, so they have an option. And Bessa, we saw that ban in game 1, the Rumble that I was talking about before, something strong that dictates the pace of the game.
Especially, I just need to see everything out of the bag for Weibo. We've seen both teams use some crazy picks to win games. Weibo in specific as well. And so if you're going to pull something out, do it now. Do something that's going to, guarantee you a cheese win if you need to. But we're already seeing some changes in the ban prio as Weibo do ban away the Azir here. But it still will be the likely other suspects. Jax actually banned away towards Xiaosu just in case. His Jax is nasty.
I assume the Azir ban is because Hongyu played... Xiaohu played Yona into the Azir against AL, so that's a way. Maybe worried that Hongyu would have a comfortable champion that he hasn't found success on this year yet, but a comfortable champion that Xiaohu maybe wouldn't have an answer to. And Bessa's up, but after that, Wukong, I think you have to find some priority in jungle, and it will be on Bessa. This is a flex, top or jungle, but it's a good start.
I really like the flexibility there too. It gives them a lot to cook with moving forward. We see the Ashe. Is it the Seraphine? it should be. What a lethal bot lane duo. And you, like, in a lot of cases, can't do anything against this bot lane. At some point in the game, an Encore is going to hit, an Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to hit, and the other parts of the team for JDG are going to pounce. And that is the question to be scared of for Weibo, is what are those other pieces going to be looking like? Weibo need to find some stability here.
Ugh. So, Ezreal Karma, something you can play into Seraphine Ash, that's banned. Corki Nami isn't bad. We've been seeing a little bit the Zeri Yumi, and the reason that works is because you can all in at level 6 and kind of break the hold that Seraphine has on that bot lane. It's a very, very strong level 6. Corki Nami isn't terrible. The Nami will help a lot, but Corki's so low ranged in the early game, the early game is going to be really hard because of the low range. Hopefully Arha on this Nami can help that out, but there's the Wukong. The team fighting draft continues for JDG. Ashe, Seraphine, Wukong.
There's a little bit of damage profile to them as well, because I gotta say, Wukong's no slouch in the damage department.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in those skirmishes. See if it's going to be the Mbessa he goes into, or if it's going to be JJ waiting for another pick, a crucial pick here. We have to see what they're willing to go with here in the bans of the second phase, because Xiaohu has already been targeted. His LeBlanc is not used now as it's banned by JDG, and they need to figure out what their focus is going to be in the second phase.
Top lane is completely fine. I still have, Ornn. Obviously, Mbessa is here. This is a flex, but, there's Cassante up. Gwen is up. There is options, but the mid lane pool is getting really pinched here. Where are we going? Syndra, Victor, Zoe, those are still champions that are available. I don't mind the Zoe for Honkyu, something he's gone to in the past. More control, a lot of CC. It would mean that the Corki has an even harder time. I think that
it's a good call.
That is a flex too. I think the JDG have done a really good job of shutting down Elk in this series so far.
Yeah, and this is a shutdown bot lane for JDG yet again. So I think that's the difficulty here. There's some good peel back from the Nami and some good setup tools there. Good follow damage once Corki gets a couple items. But looking at this second phase, the final ban here for Weibo, potentially their final ban of this season. It's going to be the TF towards Honkyu. So all the mid laners, you're being banned away, whittled down.
Okay, so there's still options. Like the Zoe, Syndra, and the Victor are all still available. I think that we're most likely going to see one of those three, unless we're getting real spicy. It could be Anivia, obviously. I kind of forgot about that. But it's going to be the Yorick. So this is semi-blind. Again, Mbessa is a flex. It's probably likely to go into the top lane, but I'm not sure how that matchup goes for Mbessa. It might be really, really tough. So JJ would take the Mbessa.
That was picked whenever she first came out. I know they were trying to go for the double minion comp with the Annie. So luckily that Weibo burned that away. But the Pantheon Ahri, a lethal duo here for JJ and Xiaohu.
I was gonna say Silas, but one of these kind of kill lane mid lanes here feels nice. You've got mobility in the backline from Weibo, but if you're able to kill this Corki. Again, JDG have been doing a good job of shutting Elk down. There is another global. I was kind of hoping that Weibo would ban the Pantheon, like I said earlier, but it'll be the Mel. Mel's gone under some really dramatic changes. Yeah. The reflex specifically in the interactions. I don't think it's that different. I don't think you can reflect Nami Wave anymore, but the rest of it should be able to be reflected. Ahri Charm. Not the spear, actually. So I'm not really convinced by this Mel pick. I think that a Silas or an Akali would have been a little bit better. But it does have a ton of range. It does a lot of damage. So JDG trying to keep at arm's length.
The amount of lockdown they have as well between the Mel, the Seraphine, and the Ashe. It's going to be so hard to deal with this comp once they group up together. And that's been the common thread, the theme for JDG in their drafts is things that work as a 5 squad. They've realized they are stronger together. We got to break down this Weibo side. Is it enough here, Jay Beto? Is it enough to keep them alive?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how confident I am necessarily in this JDG draft because of the Yorick. I think the Yorick really... If you're team fighting with Yorick, it's a little bit awkward. I actually love this Weibo draft, I have to say. The globals haven't looked great, but Pantheon is really strong. Pantheon Ahri is a great combo. they also have a lot of lockdown, right? A lot of CC chain. You've got good damage with Corki. The team fight with Nami is nice. So I think that Weibo, this might be the best draft that we've seen for the style they need to play in this series.
Gotta remember, a trend is a trend for a reason. JDG have gone to 5 games in every single one of their series here in the playoffs. Can Weibo wake up and find themselves a series here? One last gasp between JDG and Weibo.
He was ready. The camera was already panned over to him. He gives the thumbs up. I like it.
All right, well,
let's
get into it now. Yeah, hey, gotta have the spirits up. Especially, I love that the Weibo side is still cheering so loudly. But for the first time in this series, we will get the same side pathing from both junglers. Both going to be heading down towards bot lane unless they want to do anything finicky.
And not a ward on the Raptors specifically. There is, pathing wars to see if any crosses happen for any invades, but neither team should know which side junglers started on. We will obviously find out pretty quickly. And with Pantheon Wukong, I think Pantheon has some decent gank potential early game, but I don't think it's happening in top lane. Mel is very range as healers used in bot, so I think we're probably waiting for Pantheon level 6 or at least this bot lane Scuttle Crab for maybe a fight, but the bot push again, JDG in favor.
And I'll just set some tone right now. I love Pantheon. Pantheon is great. You do need to get an advantage. You want to be in a place where you make people that run into you fearful of being able to be one-shot 100-0, especially with the combination of the Ahri. So it's on JD's shoulders now, a guy who has been so impeccably good for the tempo and momentum of Weibo Gaming to step up now. And we'll see them come to the culmination of their first clears here. But the bot lane is still getting spicy. Elk getting hit hard early into the game, under 200 health.
That is really fun. Really nice way to start out this bot lane.
Love Ashe Seraphine, right?
Yeah. Was it T1? Oh, nice damage in mid. There's no mana left, though. He still has to flash.
Got the flash out of him. Huge aura from Hongq.
I guess we can't see the execute threshold, but I think Xiaohu can. So he must have been close. Maybe Riot, if you could add that, that would be really nice for any casting, for spectators. But that must have been, because Hongq didn't have enough mana to do a full combo. Hold on.
See a fight kick off though. Vampire has moved first. Arha behind him. Xiaohu is going to be moving. JD moving away from this engage with his flash. Now Junja and Vampire stuck in the pit, but they're going to have moves coming potentially. They are really just sticking this one in here. Look how hesitant Weibo is to really do anything. They've got two people in the pit. They walk away and they lose the Scuttle Crab.
Hongq based, by the way. Hongq based and TP to mid lane tower. And 3v2, Weibo say, you know what?
If that's not a statement of the series, I don't know what is. They are terrified of this JDG team. They are scared down to their boots.
That is... I feel like you can't let that happen. He's going to get double scuttled. Like we were talking about Pantheon wanting to get an advantage. Okay, flashes away from the root from Vampire. That is a Seraphine. We probably can kill her, at least do something. The charm misses. And then that's it. Weibo say,
He's forced their flashes out of the back of the pit.
I agree. You could probably force a little bit more. And the top lane's pushing in favor of Xiaohu, building up a little bit of a CS. Weibo again. That is not a good omen for this third game.
Hongq finding a little bit of an advantage in mid lane. Xiaohu has to take a back here. Doesn't have TP to get back, so this wave's going to push in as well. I think Arha is going to come try to support it. But JDG just seemed to have Weibo's number here. And I want to take a little bit of this time to talk about the last time this JDG team has been relevant, at least. When we're looking at the last time these teams have made it to finals, it had been a dastardly year for JDG last year. The project did not work out, but looking at how long it's been since the team had been in finals, since that spring almost gold road, or at least the 2023 almost gold road seasons, It's crazy to see them one step away from being back there with this new project.
I mean, Weibo were in finals that year. I think a lot of people didn't expect. I think it was they upset BLG, right? It was a 5-game series against BLG in 2023 that they ended up winning. Obviously, the team is very different. Xiaohu, the only remaining member, I believe, from that team. But a lot of people kind of think that, or take that as the T1 JDG series was the finals of that Worlds. And one of the most historic moments in League happened in that series with the Shuffle catching Ruler. But let's roam down here onto bot lane. But Junja's here.
Rent-free in my head, bro. As we're going to see Weibo trying to find some rent somewhere on the map. They will find Vampire first. It's going to be a nice reset for Xiaohu. It's going to be Gala getting away, but gets charmed in the end anyways. Flashed on by JDG, and that's Weibo finally finding some teeth in this series.
3 for 3, baby. Gala and bot loses Flash and dies. Now, look. Who wrote the script? Was it you, Mazel? Was it Alk? I have to have some words because this is getting predictable, okay? What? And now JDG are going to stomp the whole rest of the game. Like, we got to be a little bit more creative with our starts of these games.
Come on. I thought you were a JDG fan, man. You're going back on them just like that?
I am a JDG fan. I think this team is very fun, but I'm a League fan above all. I see, I love good League. I don't mind a 3-0. But, like, it's got to be competitive, especially in a lower finals. This is akin to a semis.
There's no way. The LPL does not deserve a 3-0. Oh, my God.
Okay.
Hongq with the solo bolo.
This kid is ridiculous.
He's
insane. He's so good. He just walks up and solo kills Xiaohu.
He's up 20 CS, by the way.
Yeah. He also, like, there's no intervention from anyone. Like, he got the flash himself earlier, and then still came back and solo killed him on his own.
Just writing down my statements that I'm going to say after this series is over. I will not doubt Hongq's melt. I will not doubt Hongq's melt. I will not doubt. we'll just burn that into our brain here because he's making the difference. Off the Yone pick into Talia, and now the Mel that we were questioning into Xiaohu. What an incredible moment for Hongq. What an incredible moment for JDG. And what an opening split in the LPL. One of the greatest leagues on the planet for Hongq.
I'm writing down things here for the desk tomorrow night. Like, look at mid lane. Hongq solo killed Xiaohu. He's looking ridiculous. I think... Dude. I mean, we had a bit of a conversation, or some conversations on the team about Hongq, this being like a really important year for him. He's come over from the LCP. Obviously, last year was a really important year for Hongq as well. It kind of gave him his big name. Zika in the cage. Is he just dead?
The minions are going to chase him down. If he has one more activation, we'll be a little bit closer to it. Xiaosu playing with it. We'll lose the maiden in the end.
You gotta be careful of, like, if he gets too low, Q flash from Xiaosu will kill Zika. And Xiaosu is full health, so he could probably live.
He wants it. He wants it so bad.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh my God! Xiaosu! Oh my God! Welcome the king of the top lane.
I think JDG are ready for finals. They seem to be booking their ticket to first stand. So. I think they're ready, Mazel. Dragon is up.
I'd say it's looking real damn good as an attempted combo from Weibo is going to try to find Hongq. The tidal wave came across. Ooh. They did end up finding the kill for Elk, so that's going to be big. Weibo do find a pick back.
Okay, so that looks really silly from our POV because we have vision, but obviously JDG can't see the wave. Hongq didn't see Nami ult until it was already on top of him, essentially, and he had moved forward. Nice little bait there from Jinja. Okay, I mean, we've been unhappy about the global so far from Weibo, but the Grand Starfall of JJ will allow Weibo to get, what is this, their third? No, I think it's their fourth neutral objective of this series.
At least it's something. But it is going to be a nice stacking for them to keep tabs on, and that's something we talked about so much. I know you were talking about it just a little bit ago about the dragons being a major focus, at least in the competitive sphere right now. Junja will be taking these grubs, should be able to get all 3. Don't think there's going to be a contest there, but maybe for the last one by JDG. He is up that way. But now that we're getting to this point, I mean, we have ultimates for everyone. We have a lot of those setup tools for both sides. Are we still looking at... Okay. JJ just flashed. He had to get out of there, I guess. And I think JJ is seeing ghosts right now. But is there a point of promise here for Weibo as we crest into first items?
Let me just... Hold on. I just need to soak in the flash.
I got flashbanged. I couldn't see. I
just need to... All right. I'm feeling... Because the mentals for Weibo aren't looking too hot. I think... 1 and 2 item spikes for this team is really strong. Like, Weibo still have a good draft. They're not down. Like, they are not down. They're down 300 gold. Most of it's in top lane. They have a dragon. It's fine. The thing is it's like mentally, how are Weibo doing? Are they feeling really stressed? Do they feel the pressure of this series? Because they are 1 game away from being out, not making it to finals in a very, very one-sided, you know, lower bracket finals. They won't make it to first stand, which would be... It's obviously disappointing for a team. Like, when you've come this far, this is... Oh, nice cancel. It won't end up being a kill, but... Yeah, how is the mental doing for Weibo?
It's got to be in a tough position, especially when they've had some very miraculous and well-seeded games in the playoffs themselves, especially Elk. I know, you know, getting to those finals and facing off against BLG would be an incredible thing to end the year, or at least end the split at the start of the year off of. But he's got to weigh down JDG at this point in some way, shape, or form on this core key. Once items start coming along, right now there's still that little bit of advantage for JDG, and no objectives coming up for a little while. So they'll have some scaling opportunities, at least some time to gather some funds to get to these next items.
The Pantheon against the Ashe is really frustrating. JJ has his ult back again, and, you know, he did find value on the first one. That's good. Oh, hang on. This is an ult up top as well.
Xiaosu with a 2-level advantage over Zika, though. He's got to be really careful. JJ is here to back him up, and so is Xiaohu. The side lane plays come alive for Weibo.
And there's 2 for 2. 2 ults, 2 kills. Nice. All right.
Let's go.
It's working. I was going to say that it's really tough into the Ashe. That's a massive mistake from Xiaoshu. You see where the Pantheon is. Okay, maybe you're like, oh, he's going to clear down bot side, I'm safe. But he's up top. Mid is missing. You're going to be ganked. The wave, not in the best spot. I know that Xiaoshu doesn't just want to give the wave away on Yorick, sure, but still.
Side steps there from Gala. Yeah, you got to be ready. We're getting some tussling going on in the 2v2 down here. Vampire looking for a potential angle. Honkyu still setting up in the mid lane with Junja and trying to get this charm play. Nice flash from Junja over the charm, and Xiaohu just dies outhandsed by Junja.
Really good play from JDG. I think Xiaohu has had a bit of a stinker series so far. I've been speaking about it a lot. His game 1 and his game 2 were not great, and it continues to not be good in this game 3. The roam up to top is good, but he's caught out in mid. Really nice aggressive play from JDG. This timer on the Weibo team, where every time Pantheon ult comes up, they're happy. And every time it's down, they feel really miserable. And that's kind of what happens there. Ahri ult is down. Pantheon ult is down. JDG have the priority to make players on the map, and Xiaohu ends up falling.
Tough place to be in for one of the GOATs. Will say, though, Elk was playing on a knife's edge down there. He had no support, nobody even near him, and he was stepping up in a 2v1 because Gala and Vampire didn't know where the support was going to be. So nice little stuff in the 2v2 and bonsai going down for Elk. He's feeling confident. That's going to be something to build off of for Weibo. And now we're going to see all quests completed. Potentially, oh, he doesn't get it. Xiaohu doesn't get his ahead of this dragon in 15 seconds. Wait, Elk is backing too.
He is. Gala is backing as well. So both AD carries need to reset. I assume they both have boots. No, yeah, both have this tank boots completed, but Pantheon ult is available. He is around the dragon as well. Q smite from Pantheon is very scary, so Maybe Weibo can find some dragon stacking. That will be a good start to this third game. They need to find an angle in, and they do have priority around the dragon.
Ninja is just feeling himself. He uses the clone to get the charm. He has been all over the place, and now it's going to be a smite fight. The brotherly love between these two junglers is not even going to be there. It's the encore through, and it will be JJ that gets the smite fight down. Vampire will have to flash and honk you as well. JJ now the focus. Now Doomsday needs to be careful. They've got Elk on the side doing so much work. He gets locked down. Brand Starfall comes in, and the damage from Weibo is starting to stick. They find 2 kills for JJ, who has stepped it up and knocked it out of the park.
All right, some life for Weibo. They get the Drake. The team fight is nice. I will say, hold on.
Oh my god, Elk is feeling himself. Just a little bit too much there.
Double
He's
kill.
going to try to kill Junjo, but that's going to be gold. Right back to JDG.
I feel like that's fine. Like, Elk, a massive goal lead. The biggest we've seen from a Weibo member so far. Again, he's been getting shut down a lot in these team fights, but this game feels like JDG haven't quite been able to keep him down. So I was wrong. I guess this is not the Mel change patch. My mistake, because the wave got reflected. I'm fairly sure you shouldn't be able to do this if it's new Mel. But the dragon is secured by Pantheon. Junja goes forward and can't find anything. The shotgun is done. There's no more follow-up. And then the Pantheon ult rains down. Elk is unchecked, does tons of damage on the side. Double kill for JJ. This is the first time we've seen Weibo have genuine agency in the series.
And it's on the back of JJ getting stuff done. And that has been a huge story for Weibo all season long. It has been JJ being the one to try to step up for this team. Now on the Pantheon, he's getting all the resources he needs to continue snowballing this. As we did end up seeing the Rift Herald go the way of JDG in the end. It'll be topside objectives fully controlled by JDG.
For Weibo, I think... Oh, what are we looking at here? What do we miss?
He just
this is
100
an
to 0
insta-kill.
him. Oh
yeah,
my
wow.
god.
That's insane. Okay, that doesn't feel great, but Honky does a lot of damage. So a quick reality check, I guess, for Weibo. Like, oh, we're really happy. We got 2 Drakes. We got some gold on Elk. Oh, guys, I got 100 to 0 from out of my screen.
This
by Mel
champion, man.
That doesn't feel fun.
Let's see if that's going to matter in the grand scheme of things, but this is such a better position for Weibo to be in. It feels like a more confident position. I'm watching Elk just play at the edge of his seat the entire time. He literally stepped up as an ADC into like a 1v4 where his team was completely on the other side of the fight and still willing to step into those moments. And if Weibo are going to rise above this and try to get this series to at least 4 games, they've got to do it now.
They do have the tools to do so. A much better team fighting orientated draft. They do have the side lane access with the Pantheon. But being able to team fight around these dragons, something that JDG have been so good at doing, bringing JDG to their own game. You know, a little bit of a taste of their own medicine, I guess you could say. It's another Chemtech Soul this game, which, I mean, with a Seraphine and a Nami feels really, really good. There's a lot of, shielding and healing. It's not the most exciting Soul. I know that people aren't most excited about it. I thought that was an arrow, but it was not. I'm surprised no Mikhails for Arha.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. Maybe it'll come back to bite him. Yeah,
but it was down. So I guess the arrow was down. You know what? Forget what I said, all right?
Okay, we'll rewind. All right, all in, coming in onto Xiaosu from Zika. He's waiting for the TP to come in. That's going to be Xiaohu joining. He's getting chunked by the Maiden right now. Xiaosu going to try to make some distance here, but here comes the Grand Starfall from JJ as well. And I feel like we've been here before. It's looking like a little bit of deja vu. And Xiaosu will go down to Xiaohu.
Well, again, Weibo, you guys didn't really know what to do with the global ults in games 1 and 2, but Xiaohu has TP this time. He did select that summon a spell in, and JJ has pressed R onto the enemy in a side lane and is getting kills. It's not really resulting in gold for anyone, like a gold lead, but it means that they're being proactive, that JDG can't just do anything they want, because the side lane for Xiaoshu was becoming a very big deal. You know, the matchup for Ambassador does not look very fun right now. Weibo find a timer. You know, before Dragon, we get a pick, force out you know, Xiaoshu. He won't lose Flash, but the Orican teamfights is not that great. Nice active play from Weibo. The Dragon spawning summoner spells for everybody up Honkyu's and Xiaohu's. Looks like they're just about to come up. Should have them for the fight.
Soul point would be huge. Decision-making prio for Weibo. Finally, JDG gonna circle the wagons, try to bring everybody here except for Xiaosu in the side lane. Chance Crystal Arrow already used. Flash out of Arha.
JDG, again, don't necessarily have a great position around this Dragon for once in this series. This game is feeling a lot more Weibo focused. In the last 11 games, the team that got Soul Point won the game, Mazel. But JDG do have great team fighting tools. Zika on a flank.
A Rift Herald play from Junja while Xiaosu comes up. The Blast Cone was used. Let's see if Junja, okay, he doesn't choose to pull the Rift Herald just now. Flash play from Xiaosu. Xiaohu goes in, onto Honkyu. Gets out after the Spirit Rush. Here comes the Rift Herald charge, trying to get the knock up the Encore onto Xiaohu. Xiaohu gets double lockdown and dies. He's the one that picked the fight, and he's the one that dies.
JDG back on the Dragon Mazel. I don't think this is over yet.
Honkyu getting very low. Elk goes for the play, tries to get the rebuttal out, but dies instantaneously. Now Zika is weaving through these fights, but some of the health bars from JDG are starting to stick. It's going to be Gala stepping up to the plate now. He's getting bursted by the Frost Bomb, and Elk is doing so much work here. They're going to move in. The Dragon is secured by Junja. He's going to try to get out with the clone. Zika looking for an angle. Elk wanting to be the guy, wanting to step up once again. Time is now as Grand Starfall comes in. Oh no, he gets locked down. It's going to be the double lockdown. Junja tries to go through onto Zika. Zika down 2, and now TP from Xiaosu. They're going to get surrounded.
This is not good for Weibo. They're getting chased out. They lost the Dragon as well.
What can you do, Elk? What can you do? It's going to be everything from JDG being used. He's doing a really good job of kiting, but it's going to be the Seraphine and Ashe that make the difference. JDG completely batter Weibo, taking away any hope of a lead, and now a 1.5 thousand gold lead for Jindong.
Little face check here. Xiaohu does have his ult, so he should be able to get away. He doesn't even need to use it, it
slowed
seems.
Down. Approach velocity is a crazy drug here.
There it
does have to burn the ult.
We're just doing Baron. I mean, Junja is not even alive. Just a little bit of a damage check, in fact. So, JDG get the Dragon. They get Xiaohu, who didn't have Flash. He just used it in the fight. But Weibo looked really good. So Xiaohu has ult. I want to see, where was the last charge? Because I thought he had ult when he died. So there's one. Flashes in aggressively for the E-Flash. Thank you, Huya. And there's the last charge. So he doesn't actually have anything. And then really nice engage, the follow-up from the ult here. But then Weibo find a really good way back into this fight. Okay, JDG do get the Drake, but Elk steps up massively, does so much. I mean, he one-shots Honkyu over here on the side. Look at this. Boom. RQ kills him. And I'm thinking, okay, Elk is going to take over this fight. Honkyu's down. That's a massive range and CC advantage gone for JDG. Elk is, dashing over the wall. But Jeje is 1 HP. Elk, I guess, is screaming, no, we go. And oh boy, do they go.
Missed the Frost Bomb, missed the Rocket Barrage, and JJ falters to his death. Really good positioning there from Vampire, and heads up TP play. Now we're looking back into live, and we are still contesting this bot side.
Yeah, the game has been a lot about bot side, about push, about the Dragon, about the visions, control around the objectives down here. And we saw like a 20-minute Baron in Game 2, but in Game 1 it was very late. I don't think we saw Baron until after Elder, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there was a single Baron taken in that Game 1 until after Elder was taken by JDG. But Weibo are in the best position they have been. Okay, the Dragon Soul Point is denied, but they still have, the Dragon stacking advantage. This Corki is very strong. It is... Well, actually, it might be Serpent's Fang. I was going to say it might be Collector Third, which I know no one's a fan of, but it could be Serpent's Fang against this comp against the Seraphine. Would be really nice. Junja
biting off a little bit more than he can chew. He's going to go rubbing up right into Elk, which is a bit of a problem. There's the public execution used straight onto Honkyu. Honkyu's already out of the fight. JDG overextending themselves and now paying the ultimate price for it. They had a lead, but it will be dashed here with Weibo's quick tempo play, and it's JDG that got their hand stuck in the cookie jar.
Yeah, so that's the JDG and the Junja that we have remembered from Split 1. Invading wolves when there's no dragon up, I don't understand. Maybe it's a vision play, but you have good vision, right? You don't need to go that far and commit for the ult. That was way too aggressive, and now JDG will lose the Baron as well.
I knew we couldn't just have a 3-gamer here in the lower bracket finals. There's a ticket to first stand on the line. It's got to be more than 3 games, and Weibo looking to make that so here. The Elder are still going to be a while off, but it's the Baron right now that they're trying to focus on. Enchanted Crystal Arrow did come through on Elk, but it won't be much value, and that Baron's just going to go down. Junja can't even get into the pit. He's going to try to walk back around. It's slow. JJ waiting for it, and will just end up going down to Xiaohu of all people. He's able to secure that one, and 5 Baron buffs, aplenty for Weibo.
A little scary for Weibo, but Junja is denied access to the Baron, and Weibo take what feels like their first real good position in this series. I think at this minute mark, this is the only game they've had a gold lead in this series as well. 14 seconds on this dragon. JDG will have tempo set up around the dragon itself. A lot of summoner spells available, Mazel, but the Baron, Elk just going forwards?
Elk is just playing so aggressive right now. It does have to use the Valkyrie, but that'll be coming up here soon. Xiaosu has joined. It's going to be the dragon started. Zika waiting for an entrance. All 5 members of JDG grouped up, but is that enough for them? They're going to leave Junja in the pit. Honkyu doing good damage, waiting for the encore to come through. It's going to be the smite away. No, but it's actually gotten by Gala. So this will be second dragon for JDG. Now they're looking for an exit. Xiaohu goes for the flash play. There's the encore onto multiple members, and the Starfall went on the complete opposite side of the fight. JJ just threw the game for Weibo, and that's JDG taking a massive advantage.
How much can they get from this? I mean, the Baron on JJ, he'll be able to base, but the team fighting from this team, Mazel, is unbelievable.
It's impeccable. This is the kind of team that represents that respect to the LPL. This is the type of team that has made a splash in the LPL so far this year. It is a project that maybe people doubted at the beginning of the year, but look at the doubt and look what it has wrought. JDG have found themselves in this first LPL split, and they're looking to represent that on the international stage.
JDG are ready to book their ticket to Brazil. And a finals rematch. Can Weibo stop them?
No way. Junja versus JJ. All the hearts. The Gala versus Xiaohu matchup. It's JDG that find their revenge on Weibo and book their ticket to finals and first stand.
And that's it. Like that, it's done. JDG win 1 team fight and the game is over. We're talking about Weibo in a great position. And if you can give the dragon there, but Weibo take the fight. JDG are just better in these team fights. And they're ready. After a quick 3-0, BLG awaits them in the finals.
A rematch that we would all want. Honkyu.
Oh.
Yes, let's go. Honkyu versus Knight. The greatest to ever do it in the LPL versus the hottest thing on the market here this year. And last, it's going to be an incredible matchup. It feels so incredibly bad for Weibo. They did not show up in this series. But for the first time in a long time, it feels like JDG are a consistent threat. It's been since 2023 since they made it to a finals domestically, and they find that precipice once again.
The fact that I assume that's Weibo's crystal, that JDG get to take it off them and put it on the trophy themselves. Ooh, that's tough. Congratulations to Weibo making it this far, but yeah, I think that from how they looked against AL, this is a monumental step down.
AJ looks defeated.
Yeah, I mean, that was not an amazing series from Weibo, especially losing in Game 3 like that. JDG, again, they didn't have to show anything Nothing is different that we've seen. No crazy new picks. They get to, take what I assume was practice yesterday on their, and the day before on their off days, play a quick 3-0 here, and then look to take a rematch against a waiting and powered up BLG tomorrow night.
I lost for words for Weibo. I would have loved to see them put up some fight. I'm glad we got that game 3. It was at least a little bit of a light, but it feels so bad to have this incredible lower bracket run to defeat everybody that JDG defeated and to fall just short of that finals. But incredible props to JDG. They are a team I'm confident can at least show us their style on the international stage, and a glad seed to have for the LPL at first stand.
You know what's so good? We get to see BLG or JDG against BNK FearX. Now that sounds like the most exciting match I have ever heard of in my life. That sounds like complete cinema, and I'm ready to watch that. But we'll be seeing the draw tomorrow after our finals. It'll be Gen G, the first seed of LCK, against whoever loses the finals tomorrow, and then BNK FearX against the winner of tomorrow. I'm fairly sure that's how that is set up already. But JDG, their team fighting, Mazel, their macro around these objectives is second to none right now in the LPL.
And also on top of it all, Junja and Hankyu, they make it back to first stand. we got the first stand representatives in the LPL.
They went to every international last year as well. I think they were the only ones, right? The only team that went to all 3 internationals. It's a 4 internationals in a row streak for the 2 of them. I mean, what more could you want? Tabe on AL last year has a look at CFO over the year, goes to the LPL here, brings these 2 into the LPL, creates a new team around, one remaining piece in JDG, brings in Gala, brings in Vampire. This team has had exciting heights in Split 1. I thought we were going to see, I started talking about it, here's the JDG that we've been seeing. Here's the mistake in the series, the overstep. No, not enough. It's not enough. They give Baron, Weibo are not ready for the team fight.
Just plain and simple. I love that they knew how they wanted to attack it as well. I just think it's a wonderful sight to behold for JDG. That gold graph is crazy.
Yeah, that's a little bit more LPL-esque, I will say, than the other ones we've seen. So it was more of a game, but I don't use this a ton because it's not our thing. But the tempo vibes of this series never left JDG. No matter what the gold was, I feel like JDG always had the vibes, the tempo vibes in their favor. I don't know.
I would agree. And it wasn't a single member of JDG. It was the entire team. That's the beauty of it.
I mean, it's got to be a player of the series, Junja. It has to be. He had an outstanding series. He made one mistake in this game here, where he oversteps and gives over Baron. He plays too aggressive on the Wolves on the bot side. But other than that, the team fights were great. The setups were insane. Like, this fight, again, this is a lot of Junja, Hankyu lives here. Junja summons the Herald, goes directly for Xiaohu, who no longer has that remaining Spirit Rush charge. Really nice ult from Vampire. I think this JDG team is really sick. The cohesion that this team has is ridiculous. And it's one thing to say Junja and Hankyu have synergy, but the rest of the team, they feel so connected. It feels like they're all on the same page no matter what's happening.
Yeah. And that's something that I think they've grown into a bit, because there were some series where, the reason why they got to 5 games in every series was some lapses in judgment for sure. And we almost saw that in game number 3 here.
Yeah. Speaking of lapses of judgment, this play, this is, I I have to say, I feel a bit bad for Elk. I really don't feel as though he could do anything this series. The pieces around him were kind of just falling apart. In the series against AL, I think he really put his foot down. This is the play I'm talking about Wolves. What are we doing here? No reason to be here at all. No dragon is up, and we lose Baron after this.
Then they won the game.
They did loot in the game. I'm assuming we're going to see that clip too. But Elk had a great game against Hope, and in this series, it really felt like Weibo didn't provide enough for Elk to be able to have a game at all. You know, here's the last fight. Like, Weibo should have good positions. They have Baron. The dragon is lost, whatever. Junja's out. Weibo opt into this. Look at the health bars. Zika gets one shot, completely CC chained into death. Junja zoning away Xiaohu. Like, the team fighting is ridiculous.
Yeah. It was impeccable. And it was because they had so much utility, so many avenues for success. That's when we talked early in draft. That man right there.
He's excited now. Maestro. He's excited this time. I think it was one of the games. I can't remember which one it was. And whoever, the person next to him is really excited, and he's Tabe's writing notes, like nodding head. He's excited now. Tabe knows that was a big series to win.
We get more Tabe interviews at internationals. Let's go. Let's go ahead and bring up the bracket, if you don't mind, Shiv, and we can go ahead and break that down a little bit, because we do have our first stand representatives. We do have our finalists here. BLG will try to take down a streaming JDG from that lower bracket win 3-0 over Weibo in the grand finals of Winter.
I mean, look at the bracket for BLG, right? JDG is the only team that has contested them at all so far in this bracket. AL are another team that in the regular season have contested them, but AL were knocked out by Weibo, so it was 3-0 against NIP, 3-0 against Weibo, and then a best of 5 all the way banger against JDG. This finals should be exciting. I'm a JDG fan. I'd like this team to, you know, claim first place, but I think that it's going to be difficult for both teams. I don't think that either team is necessarily massively favored, especially after what we saw in the upper bracket finals. Again, you could say 5-0, but BLG made a ton of mistakes in the late game.
I don't care what it is. I just want it to be 5 games. That's all that matters. As we close this one out, Jay Beto, do you have any last thoughts on JDG moving forward, on Weibo?
I think my thoughts about JDG are that they look a lot more polished. Their game plan was very one note, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be. If that's your game plan, we are getting priority and we are doing dragons. That's fine. That's what the game is right now. But if that doesn't work, you don't have a ton of, like, the top lane, there wasn't a massive lead. I'm really trying to say, like, you know, JDG stomped Weibo. It was not even close. But for BLG looking down, they've had the 5 games against JDG, and they've been able to watch this series against JDG as well. I'm sure that the prep will be there for both these teams. They're accustomed to each other now in 2026. They've played against each other a few times. This is an exciting rivalry, I have to say. I mean, JDG beat BLG both times in the regular season. Then BLG finally got them back in playoffs here, and now we're getting a rematch again in finals.
Should be an absolute blast. We'll see if BLG can weather the JDG storm, but that's it from us. Before we get going, got to give a huge special thank you to our Elite Coffee supporters, Aaron, Soup, and Mung. If you want to join anything along the lines of supporting the LPL, please go join our coffee, as the financial contributions go directly to helping the show and paying all the volunteers that are here on a daily basis. But we've got finals tomorrow, BLG versus JDG. Don't you dare miss it.